TFM.
Starting a renovation project? Start right. Start here at H&L Rapid True Value for all your essentials at our 10 stores island-wide. The time by H&L Rapid True Value is
nationwide time, 5 o'clock.
Crisp and refreshing. Room temperature or chilled. A pure water would drink. The temperature by Pure Water is
32 degrees Celsius in Kingston, 31 out west in Montego Bay.
From the Nationwide News Network, comprehensive, incisive, tough. This is Nationwide at 5.
Good afternoon, I'm Nora Gay Banton.
And I'm Robianne Williams.
In Nationwide News at this hour, the PNP's Peter Bunting has labelled the government's ongoing road improvement program Spark as a massive con.
When I'm talking about Spark program, con business, I'm talking about poor package that they will see international sector. Lie.
But the JLP's Juliet Cuthbert Flynn hits back at Mr. Bunting's claims.
Bunting's comment regarding the Sparks program are unbecoming, disgraceful, and false. The program will be going to international tender and is above board.
And Senator Bunting has slammed the government for not achieving meaningful growth in the country.
The government has rejected as false and misleading allegations by the PNP that it is building 3 prisons in Westmoreland.
MP Dr. Michelle Charles denies claims by the PNP that she's a dual U.S. citizen.
In news from the rest of the world, torrential rains triggered deadly landslides in Ecuador.
Greek opposition urges investigation after BBC migrant deaths report.
In headline sports, West Indies and Afghanistan clash in ICC T20 World Cup top of the table showdown in under 3 hours' time.
And later in our broadcast, in the cover story at 5:35, opposition Senator Peter Bunting has accused the government of using the $40 billion Spark program as a ruse to finance the JLP's upcoming election campaign.
Everyone in this is a con business. When I'm talking about Spark program, me a prophesy that is the financing for the Labour Party in the upcoming election.
Works Minister Robert Morgan will join us.
In public opinion at 6:26, we ask what can be done to reduce the cost of living. Give us your comments by logging on to our Facebook page, Nationwide News Network, and by tweeting us at Nationwide Radio and message us on WhatsApp at 876-285-5693. You can also leave your comments on Instagram at Nationwide 90FM.
In the nation's business at 6:40, Chairman of the St. James Municipal Corporation, Mayor Richard Vernon, says there has been difficulty in maintaining infrastructure in the parish as a result of the over $1 billion owed in property taxes. Mayor Vernon and the Mayor of Port Maria, Fitzroy Wilson, will join us. All these and more as we take you home on air on your mobile, Nationwide 90FM, nationwideradiojm.com, and on the Nationwide app available on Google Play and the App Store this Monday afternoon, Monday, June 17, 2024.
If it's news, it's got to be Nationwide 90FM.
Now the details. Opposition spokesman on national security, Senator Peter Bunting, has labelled the government's ongoing road improvement program Spark as a massive con. Mr. Bunting made the stark claim at a PNP divisional conference in Junction, St. Elizabeth on Sunday. Dana Davey reports.
The Shared Prosperity Through Accelerated Improvement to Our Road Network, or SPARK program, is a 2-year road rehabilitation project aimed at transforming the island's road network. The $40 billion project will target more than 2,000 community, parochial, and secondary roads. Each constituency is allocated $150 million to undertake necessary road improvement projects. Works Minister Robert Morgan recently disclosed that 5 international companies were shortlisted to bid for the right to execute the Spark program. A preferred bidder to execute the project has not been chosen yet. But speaking to PNP supporters in Junction, St. Elizabeth on Sunday, Peter Bunting dismissed the project as an exercise in corruption. Invoking the powers of a prophet, Senator Bunting told his audience that the contractor for Spark has already been chosen.
Running this con business. When I'm talking about Spark program, con business. I'm talking about poor package that them international tender. Lie. They don't know who are they. The contract they are in. They don't know me a prophesy says that Chinese company get the contract. Me a prophesy said that is the financing for the Labour Party in your coming election. Corruption.
Senator Bunting says Spark will be used by the JLP as the vehicle through which the party will channel funds to power its general election campaign.
You will not get any value for money on the roads in the communities with bad roads. The farmers will not get any improvement. You mark my words, the JLP are going to yam out most of that money for corrupt ends. The people not getting any benefit from that.
Dana Davey for Nationwide News.
Meanwhile, State Minister of National Security Juliet Cuthbert-Flynn has condemned Senator Bunting's remarks about the Spark program.
Bunting's comment regarding the Sparks program are unbecoming, disgraceful, and false. The program will be going to international tender and is above board. What he has alluded to is how the PMP used to use the programs over the years for their political gain. Bunting is really expressing a fear about this program, which will bring benefits to the Jamaican people. And I think he should be ashamed to speak about the state of the roads after the PMP promised us pothole-free by 2003. That was a hollow promise which was never fulfilled. And so I think Bunting's comment is another indicator of how the PMP are desperate.
Juliet Cuthbert-Flynn, State Minister of National Security.
And Senator Bunting has slammed the government for not achieving meaningful growth in the country. Senator Bunting pointed to World Bank projections that suggest Jamaica is falling behind the region in terms of growth. Siobhan Campbell tells us more.
Senator Bunting told comrades in Junction St. Elizabeth over the weekend that they must not be fooled by claims from the JLP administration that the economy is doing well. Pointing to the latest World Bank economic report for June 2024, he notes that Jamaica is floundering even as other countries in the region are thriving.
Them talk about the economy. Right now, construction is down. Non-performing loans have increased by 30%, the highest it has been for the last 7 years. The World Bank is predicting that Jamaica will grow at less than half the rate of the rest of the countries in the Caribbean. We're not talking about in the world or in Europe or in so right here in the Caribbean.
Mr. Bunting's assessment is partly accurate. The World Bank projects that growth for the entire Caribbean in 2024 is projected at 7.1%. However, that figure is inflated by projections for Guyana, which has experienced a phenomenal economic turnaround on the back of its oil discovery in 2015. That country is anticipated to grow by over 30% in 2024. With Guyana removed from the assessment, average growth in the region narrows to 3.9%. Comparatively, Jamaica is projected to grow by 2%. According to Bunting, Jamaica's outlook for growth is only better than crisis-torn Haiti.
All of the little islands, Barbados, St. Lucia, etc., only because of the confusion and the situation in Haiti, why we might be not the worst.
However, the 2% growth rate projected by Jamaica remains one of the highest over the last 20 years. Between 2005 and 2014, Jamaica's annual growth rate was 0.1%. It improved to 1.8% in 2016. However, it again took a beating due to the COVID-19 pandemic, contracting by nearly 10% in 2020. The country also experienced a rapid recovery in 2021 and 2022, recording growth of 4.6% and 5.2% respectively. This fell to 2.6% in 2023. Mr. Bunting says despite attempts by the government to say otherwise, the average Jamaican is still suffering.
Food prices, cost of living. That's why when they're telling you, they're trying to convince you that everything is copacetic. The people's lived experience is completely different.
Siobhan Campbell for Nationwide News.
Meanwhile, Finance Minister Dr. Nigel Clark is dismissing Mr. Bunting's claims. Dr. Clark says many of the countries being compared to Jamaica are still recovering from the COVID-19 pandemic.
Mr. Bunting is comparing Jamaica with countries in the region, countries in the Caribbean, that in 2023 had still not recovered to pre-COVID levels of economic output. The fact is, recognized by all the major and international economic institutions, that Jamaica has achieved one of the fastest economic recoveries from the COVID-19 pandemic among countries in the region, and in particular among countries in the Caribbean.
Dr. Clark says those same countries also have very high unemployment rates.
So some of those countries that he's comparing us with, they're still in their recovery phase from the pandemic with higher growth rates. Mr. Bunting is also comparing Jamaica with countries that have much higher unemployment rates. In Barbados, the unemployment rate is 8%, twice as high as Jamaica. In St. Lucia, the unemployment rate is 15%, which is almost 4 times the size of Jamaica's unemployment rate. I know all Jamaicans would rather 2% growth and 4% unemployment than 3% growth and 15% unemployment. The fact is that Jamaica's macroeconomic position is the strongest it has been in over the last 50 years.
Dr. Nigel Clark, Minister of Finance and the Public Service.
State Minister of National Security Juliet Cuthbert-Flynn is rejecting as false and misleading an allegation by PNP Vice President Ian Hales that the government is building 3 prisons in Westmoreland. Hales made the allegation on the weekend in a video which has been circulating on social media. But Minister Cuthbert-Flynn says the truth is that a police divisional headquarters and 2 police stations will be built as the government intensifies its investment in securing Jamaicans. More in this report from Shalois Michael.
This is Ian Hales blasting the government for building 3 new prisons in what he says is the latest example of the Holness administration's misplaced priorities.
The Landila Cultural Center is now being replaced by a prison. The Landila Cultural Center, where all the cultural activity takes place in the parish of Westmoreland, is now replaced by a prison. Also in Frome, we're building one of the largest prisons also to house criminals. And no further down the road in Little London, the Little London area, there's also a new police station that is being built. So there's 3 prisons that is being built in the parish of Westmoreland. 1 here at the Cultural Centre, 1 in Frome, and 1 in Little London.
In a statement this afternoon, State Minister Juliet Cuthbert-Flynn said the claims are false.
I take note of a video circulating online with Mr. Ian Hales making allegations suggesting that the government of Jamaica is building 3 prisons in Westmoreland. These allegations of the senior member of the opposition are outright false and misleading. Let me tell you what the facts are. Number 1, there are 2 police stations that will be built in Westmoreland, 1 in Frome and 1 in Little London. There will be no police station built on the cultural site in Westmoreland. There will be a divisional headquarters that will be built close to the cultural site.
Minister Cuthbert-Flynn says the government will not be distracted from its mission to give the police the best working conditions to continue protecting Jamaicans. She says Ian Hales appears to carefully plan his statements so as to mislead the Jamaican people.
In recent times, he did the same thing with the Black Tank program, making allegations which led to death threats against a businessman. Jamaicans should take note that this kind of desperation of Ian Hales and the opposition, where it appears that they're willing to make false allegations, send it out into social media to make people believe that is the truth before we can do anything about it. We should reject this kind of despicable type of politics.
Shalois Michael for Nationwide News.
Value Drug Pharmacy offers curbside pickup and delivery of your branded and generic drugs. WhatsApp your prescription to 876-881-6695. The time by Value Drug Pharmacy is
5:15.
Rent-A-Kill Initial offers air purification solutions with triple filtration and unique auto-sensing capabilities that neutralizes malodor and replaces it with clean air. Call Rent-A-Kill Initial at 926-4236 for more details.
The temperature by Rent-A-Kill is
32 degrees Celsius in Kingston, 31 out west in Montego Bay.
Does your organization need help to achieve compliance with the Data Protection Act? Contact We Manage Trust today at 876-339-5982 or email info@wemanagetrust.com. Let their team help you to achieve compliance with confidence and learn about their tailored MSME packages. We Manage Trust, the data protection experts. Give them a call at 876-339-5982. That's 876-339-5982. 5982. Call them today.
Continuing the news, the People's National Party Youth Organization PNPYO is calling on MP for East St. Thomas, the JLP's Dr. Michelle Charles, to clarify her citizenship status. In a statement on Monday, the PNPYO says uncertainty remains about whether Dr. Charles has renounced her U.S. citizenship. The PNPYO says if left unaddressed, this constitutes a clear breach of the Constitution. It says to date, a notice of renunciation from Dr. Charles has yet to appear in any of the U.S. Federal Register's quarterly publications. The PNP Youth Arm says, noticing this absence, it's urging Dr. Charles to publicly clarify her citizenship status. It says this will dispel any doubts and affirm compliance with the constitutional requirements for serving in Parliament. The PNPYO says any delay in this process will make the matter untenable and will force a demand for her resignation.
But in a quick response, Monday afternoon, Dr. Charles declared that she's a citizen of Jamaica only. She's calling out the PNP and its youth organization for what she says is an attempt to distract from the embarrassment facing their party president, Mark Golding.
I am a citizen of Jamaica and Jamaica only. I was duly elected. The latest statement by the PNP and their surrogates represent another shameless attempt to distract from the fact that their president, who aspires to lead this country, remains loyal to and under the force of law of Britain. This despite him telling Jamaicans we cannot have 1 foot in and 1 foot out of King Charles' kingdom. Sheer hypocrisy of the highest order by Marky British, who continues to embarrass himself and his party.
Dr. Michelle Charles, Member of Parliament for East St. Thomas.
A 12-year-old female student of Ocherius High in St. Anne was taken to the hospital on Monday after she was reportedly shot by her schoolmate on the school's compound. It's understood the schoolmate, a boy, took the firearm to school where it went off inside a classroom, hitting the girl in her thigh. Senior Superintendent Dwight Powell is the head of the St. Anne Police Division.
Reporting that on Monday, June 17th, 2024, about 12:45 p.m., there was a shooting incident at the Watchman High School in St. Anne. Information received and investigation carried out indicated that a 14-year-old male student of Pineapple Watchman St. Anne took a firearm to school. He was in the social study lab along with other students when they were handling the firearm and it went off, injuring a 12-year-old female student. She was assisted to the St. Anne's Hospital by the grade coordinator, where she is being treated for a gunshot wound to her thigh. She is in serious but stable condition.
The injured schoolgirl has since been discharged from the hospital. SSP Paul says the police are probing the matter.
Teachers were alerted and went to the classroom where one grey and black knapsack was recovered from the floor containing one firearm. We are probing this shooting incident and we are following lead as to how and by what means the student came in possession of the firearm. As soon as those information are available, we will certainly share them.
SSP Dwight Powell, head of the St. Anne Police Division.
The Independent Commission of Investigations, INDICOM, says it's investigating the shooting death of a 14-year-old boy in Williamsfield, Manchester, by security forces. The incident occurred on Sunday. It's reported that officers on duty engaged a vehicle that disobeyed orders to stop. One officer reportedly fired several rounds in the direction of the fleeing vehicle. One of the occupants of the vehicle died from his injuries. He's been identified as 14-year-old high school student Mikhail Simpson. Indicom says its team revisited the scene and spoke with community members following the shooting incident. The commission says a team will provide guidance on the investigation. It says the concerned officers will be required to provide statements as well as attend the office of the commission to be interviewed. Indicom says since the start of the year, 66 persons have been shot and killed by security forces. It says of that number, 11 occurred in June.
World in a Minute is brought to you by ABC Electrical Sales. We make things as easy as ABC. Hose assembly and supply, equipping Jamaica for success.
And Charles O'Connor Consulting Network, COCN, driven by international accounting standards, modern technology and integrity.
The World in a Minute. At least 6 people have been killed in landslides in central Ecuador. Several homes were buried underneath tons of mud in the city of Baño. The landslide followed days of torrential rain. More than a dozen people were injured and a main road was cut off. A state of emergency has been declared in Baño. Officials say some 30 people who had been reported missing after the landslide have been found alive. Heavy machinery has been sent to the area to clear roads that have been blocked by rocks and mud. Ecuador's local media say of the 6 people confirmed to have died, 5 were members of the same family.
Greece's main opposition party is demanding an investigation after a BBC report found the Coast Guard had caused dozens of migrant deaths over 3 years. This is according to eyewitnesses. 9 migrants were said to have been thrown into the water deliberately. Syria's immigration policy chief is demanding an in-depth investigation. Hyorhos Saikougios says his center-left party had called for accountability over Coast Guard incidents for years after many reports from international institutions and organizations. He accused the government of calling his party anti-Greek and provocateurs for asking those questions, rather. A government spokesperson insisted the BBC's claims had not been proven, but stressed that every complaint would be checked and conclusions drawn.
World in a Minute was brought to you by ABC Electrical Sales. We make things as easy as ABC. Hose assembly and supply, equipping Jamaica for success.
And Charles O'Connor Consulting Network, COCN, driven by international accounting standards, modern technology and integrity. Recapping the top stories making nationwide news at this hour, the PNP's Peter Bunting has labelled the government's ongoing road improvement program Spark as a massive con.
But the JLP's Juliet Cuthbert-Flynn hits back at Mr. Bunting's claims.
And Senator Bunting has slammed the government for not achieving meaningful growth in the country.
The government has rejected as false and misleading allegations by the PNP that it is building 3 prisons in Westmoreland.
MP Dr. Michelle Charles denies claims by the PNP that she's a dual U.S. citizen. I'm Nora Gay Banton.
And I'm Robianne Williams.
You can find the news on our website at nationwideradiojm.com and on the Nationwide app available on Google Play and the App Store. News next, the headlines at 6.
Did you know that many of my schoolmates have an unhealthy diet, especially at school? And now 23% of them are overweight and or obese? And so 1 less sugary drink at my school may mean 1 friend less,
or 2 or 3,
at risk of cavities or diabetes. And if we're served less foods high in saturated fats, sugar, and sodium, it may reduce our risk from obesity, heart disease, and high blood pressure.
The solution is simple, right? Act now.
Let's get unhealthy foods and beverages out of our schools.
A message from the Heart Foundation of Jamaica and partners.
Presenting another finalist in the 2024 Jamaica Festival Song Competition.
Wagwan Jamaica, it's your girl Tristar, and my song is Jamaica, Jamaica. Jamaica, Jamaica, sweet and nice. We love a little island vibe. Jamaica, Jamaica, the island notes and many one people we rise. Tell them say we lick about with all our sweet
Jamaica Festival 2024.
Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to Sports here on Nationwide 90 FM. I'm Wayne Walker. Title favourites France opened their Euro 2024 campaign on a winning note today. The former champions secured a 1-0 win over Austrian Dusseldorf thanks to an own goal from the Austrian defender Maximiliano Wupper on minute 38.
Here's Mbappe. Mbappe, brilliant burst. Oh, and it's in for an own goal. France have the lead. Mbappe, the creator. Maximilian Wupper, the scorer. France benefit from an own goal from the Austria centre-half. But it came about after some brilliant work from their captain, Kylian Mbappe.
In other games today, Slovakia upset Belgium 1-0 in Group E, while Romania blanked the Ukraine 3-0 to go top of the group. Jamaica's senior men's national football team staged their first training session this morning in Houston, Texas, less than 24 hours after arriving on America's west coast to prepare for the Copa America tournament, which is set to kick off on Thursday. Jamaica's opening game at the tournament comes on Saturday against Mexico at the NRG Stadium at 8 o'clock Jamaica time in the PM. Defenders Wes Harding and Michael Hector are two of the players who are happy to be back in the fold at the national team. Harding made his debut for the senior team in an international friendly against Serbia in 2021, but he's been out of the national setup for almost 3 years. Harding says he has been following the progress, though, of the team.
I actually watched the games. I watched the most recent game, both Dominican Republic, Dominica. So yeah, I've been watching, waiting. But yeah, to be fair, this time's really helped me to actually just watch as a fan, because I haven't actually expected a call-up. So yeah, it's been nice to just watch from a distance. Really looking forward to it, as I said. It's a big thing. Like I actually had to explain to other people, like, this is like the Euros over this side of the world. So yeah, really amazing to be here and can't wait to get started.
Wes Harding, this will be Jamaica's third appearance at the Copa, and Hector has been in all 3 squads. He says it's always an honour to wear the national colours.
Every cap I got, every time I can have a chance to represent this country it's an honour, and I always do my best. I try, and the journey's been special. It's not ended. Hopefully there's a lot more special moments to come, special nights, special days. But yeah, no, it's been a fantastic journey, one that I always treasure and want to be a part of for long.
Michael Hector, following the game against Mexico, Jamaica will take on Ecuador at the Allegation Stadium in Las Vegas. The Reggae Boys will close out the group against Venezuela on June 30 in Austin. The tournament kicks off with Argentina, the world champions and defending Copa champions, taking on Canada at the Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta on Thursday. West Indies and Afghanistan will meet in a Group C top-of-the-table clash in the ICC T20 World Cup at the Darren Sammy National Stadium this evening at 7:30 Jamaica time. The teams are undefeated and have already qualified for the Super 8s. Captain Watchman says they intend still to put on a show for the fans.
Momentum is a very important word for us. It's important for us to keep playing good cricket and consistent cricket. After this game, the Super 8 is very, very important. So you want players going into the Super 8 with good performances. You want to go in the Super 8 as a team winning. So that's definitely something that we're taking serious, not taking nothing for granted, even though we have qualified for the Super 8s already. It's an opportunity for us to also put on a display for the St. Lucians that will come out to watch us play World Cup cricket.
Rovman Pal, meanwhile, determined Bangladesh. They thrashed the Spirit in Nepal by 21 runs and to complete the Super 8 pairings. That result, the final 8 teams are now confirmed. Australia, India, Afghanistan and Bangladesh have been slotted into Group 1, while South Africa, the West Indies, USA, and defending champions England will go in Group 2. Now, the teams will be playing 3 matches each during the Super 8 phase, with the top 2 teams going on to the semi-finals. A Super 8 kickoff in Antigua on June 19, with the USA taking on South Africa. That same evening, the West Indies will take on their long-time rivals England in St. Lucia. On June 20, the undefeated India will take on Afghanistan in Barbados, a crucial game ahead of the knockout stages. And this will also mark India's first game in the Caribbean during the tournament. They've been domiciled in New York and in Miami. Afghanistan will seek redemption for their close loss to Australia in last year's ICC Men's World Cup when they meet on June 22 in St. Vincent. And despite facing tough back-to-back games, Rashid Khan's team has shown remarkable resilience throughout the tournament. Co-host West Indies will play South Africa in their final Group 2 game on June 23 in Antigua. Historically dominated by South Africa, the West Indies turned the tables last month with a clean sweep in a 3-game T20 series here in Kingston at Sabina Park. Another World Cup-centric match features India against the reigning champions, reigning 50-over champions, that is, Australia in St. Lucia on June 24. And we're going to close out with our Olympic facts, and it's brought to you by Fontana Pharmacy.
This is Nationwide's Olympic Facts, brought to you by Fontana Pharmacy. It's all good inside.
Did you know that Jamaican athletes competed as part of a unified Caribbean team at one Olympic Games? Yes, that's a fact. Jamaica's athletes competed as part of the West Indies Federation team at the 1960 Olympics in Rome.
That was Nationwide's Olympic Facts, brought to you by Fontana Pharmacy. It's all good inside.
And that's sports. We're going to be back with more at 6:05 this evening.
Hyundai, the home of modern, premium, affordable vehicles. Call us at 876-630-1511. The time by Hyundai is
5:31.
You know, sir, through the new social housing program, the government has already given houses to hundreds of poor Jamaicans and will give over 1,500 more houses to Jamaicans in need. We are building Jamaica.
The temperature by the office of the Prime Minister is
31 degrees Celsius here in the nation's capital, Kingston. It's 30 in the western city, Montego Bay.
Charles O'Connor Consulting Network, COCN, is a financial reporting firm that delivers accounting and compliance services on time. Call us today at 876-908-0486 to 7. Email us at clientservices@cocnjamaica.com or visit our website at www.cocnjamaica.com. COCN, driven by international accounting standards, modern technology, and integrity.
The Office of the Information Commissioner, OIC, is Jamaica's data protection regulator. We're here to ensure large and small, public and private data controllers comply with the Data Protection Act. All data controllers must register with the OIC and process personal data in accordance with the law. Help us create a data-safe society for all. For more information, call us at 876-929-6952. Visit our website at oic.gov.jm. The OIC, your data, your rights protected.
Drive Hyundai vehicles beyond your dreams with an exclusive 5.99% interest rate. Yes, shop Hyundai vehicles and get a super low 5.99% interest rate on your car loan. Plus 2 years free service, 1 year insurance, and 5 years warranty. Offer valid on all 2024 Hyundai vehicles. Drive your Hyundai with the lowest interest 5.99%. Conditions apply.
Hi there. Here's some good news for these trying times. Quote, "By God's word, I can see where I'm going. They throw a beam of light on my dark path." Unquote. Psalm 119, verse 105. Listen for God's Word weekdays at 5:45 a.m. and 12:55 p.m. through
Oasis. Stop by for a refreshing drink and share a God perspective for the day.
Oasis, weekdays 5:45 a.m. and 12:55 p.m. right here on Nationwide a revolution in media.
The rebroadcast of The Oasis can be heard weekdays at 5:45 a.m.
The Oasis is brought to you by Solar Tech Jamaica. We use the gift of the sun to power our world.
Cover Story is brought to you by
Multilink. Roll with control. Use Multilink. Safe, fast, and accepted in more locations.
We've been a part of everyday Jamaican life for over 25 years. From paydays to birthdays, unexpected emergencies to anniversary celebrations. The supermarket checkout line, or paying a bill or taxes on time. Our fast, secure debit network provides reliable service so you can always depend on Multilink. Jamaican and proud, fast, secure, everywhere.
Good afternoon. It's 5:35. It's Monday, and it's time for the Cover Story. I'm Siobhan Campbell.
Good afternoon to you, Sir Siobhan. Good afternoon to our listeners and our viewers on YouTube as well. I'm the lowly Tyrone Reid.
I don't know if there's anything lowly about you, Tyrone, but it seems fate has conspired once again to put us a lot sooner than I thought in the same arena. How are you, sir?
And I appreciate it, my brother. It's always a privilege to share the same intellectual space with someone as erudite as yourself.
Thank you so much. Well, I mean, listeners, if it was unclear before, we are now clearly in election mode as the opposition and the government are trading tit for tat, blow for blow, as we come down to the wire, it seems. Opposition spokesman on national security, Senator Peter Bunting, has labeled the government's ongoing road improvement program, Spark, as a massive con. Mr. Bunting made the stark claim at the PNP Divisional Conference in Junction, St. Elizabeth on Sunday. We have more from Dana Davey.
The Shared Prosperity through Accelerated Improvement to Our Road Network, or SPARK program, is a 2-year road rehabilitation project aimed at transforming the island's road network. The $40 billion project will target more than 2,000 community, parochial, and secondary roads. Each constituency is allocated $150 million to undertake necessary road improvement projects. Works Minister Robert Morgan recently disclosed that 5 international companies were shortlisted to bid for the right to execute the Spark program. A preferred bidder to execute the project has not been chosen yet. But speaking to PNP supporters in Junction, St. Elizabeth on Sunday, Peter Bunting dismissed the project as an exercise in corruption. Invoking the powers of a prophet, Senator Bunting told his audience that the contractor for Spark has already been chosen.
Running this con business, when I'm talking about Spark program, con business, them talk about them a 4 package that them international tender. Lie, they don't know who are they, the contract they are in. They don't know, me a prophesy, says that Chinese company get a contract. Me a prophesy, says that is the financing for the Labour Party in the upcoming election. Corruption.
Senator Bunting says Spark will be used by the JLP as the vehicle through which the party will channel funds to power its general election campaign.
You will not get any value for money on the roads in the communities with bad roads. The farmers will not get any improvement. You mark my words, the JLP are going to yam out most of that money for corrupt ends. The people not getting any benefit from that.
Dana Davey for Nationwide News.
Thank you very much for that report there, Dana. In the meantime, State Minister in the Ministry of National Security, that's Juliet Cuthbert-Flynn, she condemned Senator Bunting's remarks.
Bunting's comment regarding the Sparks program are unbecoming, disgraceful, and false. The program will be going to international tender and is above board. What he has alluded to is how the PNP used to use the programs over the years for their political gain. Bunting is really expressing a fear about this program, which will bring benefits to the Jamaican people. And I think he should be ashamed to speak about the state of the roads after the PNP promised us pothole-free by 2003. That was a hollow promise which was never fulfilled. And so I think Bunting's comment is another indicator of how the PMP are desperate.
That's Juliet Cuthbert-Flynn. She's the State Minister of National Security. Well, the government also says Senator Bunting's allegations are unfounded and misrepresent the true nature and intentions of the Spark program. In a statement on Monday, the Ministry of Economic Growth and Job Creation says the procurement process for the program is being conducted with the utmost transparency and adherence to the Jamaican laws and international best practices, rather. It says the government stands by the integrity and transparency of the program. Well, we're joined now by Works Minister Robert Morgan to discuss further. Good afternoon, Minister Morgan.
Good afternoon, Minister Morgan.
How are you?
Doing quite well. So, sir, what do you make of Mr. Bunting's comments regarding the government's community road program?
Well, I'm not alarmed and I'm not surprised because it is the modus operandi that whenever the government decides to do something to benefit the masses, that several persons from the opposition will appear and seek to diminish it. What is important, however, is that the program continues. It is a program that has been subjected to the most intense scrutiny. The National Works Agency is an agency that is under the remit of the Integrity Commission, also under the remit of the Auditor General. So there's nothing that we do that could be considered to be inappropriate as we maintain.
When you use those big words, Minister, like remit, can you explain that for all of our listeners?
Meaning, so for example, the Integrity Commission has our authority to examine all contracts that come through the National Works Agency. So too does the Auditor General. The current procurement is an international procurement, which is essentially recognized internationally as the best way to approach these projects. So it's not a case where the government has decided to just take up some money and give some people. This is an international and very transparent process where local and global companies have been invited to bid. So the argument that the government is going to use this money to fund an election campaign is actually pretty stupid because it's not possible. When companies come to Jamaica and they do work based on the value of the contract that they get. And then after the work is completed, it has to be validated so that they can get paid. And that validation has to be examined by the Integrity Commission, for example, and the Auditor General to ensure that taxpayers get value for money. What Mr. Bunting has done is he has tried to prey on the ignorance of persons who may not understand the procurement process in an effort to eke out some political benefit by tricking the people. But we're not interested in that. What we're interested in is the fact that over 30 constituents have had consultations for the first time in the history of Jamaica to consult with the government on which roads they think are priority to be fixed. And the government, through the Ministry of Local Government, through the CDF, Constituency Development Fund, has created a framework where people from communities can participate in the decision-making process to ensure that what they want is what the government is doing with their tax dollars.
Before we proceed, gentlemen, I think it's of note that we should tell the listeners and the viewers on YouTube that our producers reached out to Senator Bunting and invited him to the program, but they did not receive a response from him. It's important that we say that because some of what I heard in that clip, the audio quality wasn't so great, but some of it really requires further interrogation.
But why are you surprised, Tyrone? Because Mr. Bunting has no evidence to substantiate what he's saying on TV. The man is trying to basically build a hype for their conference coming up. Now, I as a minister cannot go to that level. I have to elevate myself and give the public the opportunity to understand what we're doing. And what we're doing is the most significant community development process that has ever happened in a very long time, giving the public in the community the ability to influence how government fixes. Usually, Tyrone, you hear to the road of a fix, and you see some tractor and some man coming in your community and put on some asphalt. You never had the opportunity to engage with the government to say, we think that road number 1 is priority. We really want road number 2 as well, but fix road number 1 first. And that's what scares Peter Bunting, not a minister. That's what scares Peter Bunting, because he recognizes that the consultative process is very powerful, because it now gives people the power to make decisions for their own benefit, which has never happened before.
Stick a pin in it right there. We're up on the break.
Yes.
Clearing personal non-commercial shipments at the port? Avoid the wait. Request a contactless clearance through your agent today. It's more efficient. It's secure. The time by the Jamaica Customs Agency is
5:45.
Dive into your summer projects with Milwaukee Tools from SCL Jamaica Limited in their big blowout sale of up to 70% off. From power drills to saws, their top-notch Milwaukee Tools will handle any project with ease. Hurry to SCL Jamaica Limited at Block L, Sagicor Industrial Center, 7 Norman Road, or call 876-938-1397 for more details. Sale runs June 3 to July 31. Terms and conditions apply. Milwaukee, nothing but heavy duty.
We've been a part of everyday Jamaican life for over 25 years. From paydays to birthdays, unexpected emergencies to anniversary celebrations, the supermarket checkout line, or paying a bill or taxes on time. Our fast, secure debit network provides reliable service so you can always depend on Multilink. Jamaican and proud, fast, secure, everywhere.
Did you know that many of my schoolmates have an unhealthy diet, especially at school? And now 23% of them are overweight and or obese? And so one less sugary drink at my school may mean one friend less, or 2 or 3, at risk of cavities or diabetes. And if we're served less foods high in saturated fats, sugar and sodium, it may reduce our risk from obesity, heart disease and high blood pressure. The solution is simple, right? Act now. Let's get unhealthy foods and beverages out of our schools.
A message from the Heart Foundation of Jamaica and partners.
Drive Hyundai vehicles beyond your dreams with an exclusive 5.99% interest rate. Yes, shop Hyundai vehicles and get a super low 5.99% interest rate on your car loan. Plus 2 years free service, 1 year insurance, and 5 years warranty. Offer valid on all 2024 Hyundai vehicles. Drive your Hyundai with the lowest interest, 5.99%. Conditions apply.
When we say the business, when we're talking about Spark program, business, them talk about them have 4 package that them international tender. Lie, they don't know who are they that contract already. They don't know me a prophesy says that Chinese company get a contract. Me a prophesy says that is the financing for the Labour Party in your coming election. Corruption! You will not get any value for money on the roads in the communities with bad roads. The farmers will not get any improvement. You mark my words, the GLP are going to yam out most of that money for corrupt ends. The people not getting any benefit from that.
That's
we really apologize. Welcome back to the cover story. He's Siobhan Campbell. I'm Tyrone Reed. So sorry about the quality of the audio there. We have with us the Minister with Responsibility for Works. That's Robert Morgan. But I wanted to play it again because I wanted to go back to what the minister, Senator Bunting, is saying, Minister, and I'd love to get your response on that. You discussed the procedure that this whole thing, the process that the contracts must go through. But when will the final decision be made on the preferred bidder, and who makes that decision?
So, Tyrone, thank you very much for that question. So, at the initial stage in about April, we advertised for persons interested internationally to participate in the pre-tender process, right? About 10 or 8 persons engaged with the process, and of that, 2 were Jamaican companies. And at the end of it, 5 international companies qualified. We recently just sent out the other tender process where those 5 will bid on the 4 packages that are available, right? And that's where we are. I want to be very clear to you. This is a very transparent process. This is also a process that is overseen by government agencies that are responsible for integrity and transparency. So it's a bit surprising to us that Minister Bunting will go on the political platform and seek to...
You haven't answered me yet, though, Minister. The final decision, who makes that decision is what I'm asking.
The final decision is
elected,
made
yes.
in the procurement process. The final decision is made by the procurement committee, which is not made up of politicians. It is made up of people who have been in procurement, who understand the government procurement guidelines. The mistake a lot of people make, Tyrone, is that they feel at the behest of persons like Mr. Bunting that people like Robert Nesta Morgan and Prime Minister Andrew Holness are the ones who decide who gets these contracts. We have no role in the process. When something is advertised, people bid, and then there's a procurement committee made up of public servants who have been doing this for years, who are also accountable to the accountability framework that exists in the government.
But Minister, if we are to believe that this is how the process works and politicians don't have sway over the civil servants who preside over these matters, then corruption is a figment of all of our imagination then, in terms of the contracting awarding process.
I wish that you would not associate yourself with the misguided comments of Mr. Bunting.
First of all, don't characterize what I'm doing. I'm asking you to answer the questions. You're giving me a comment, and I'm putting it back to you. If we go with this notion that you're painting, that the politicians have no say over the process whatsoever, the contract awards process, which has been flagged so many times for acts of corruption, should not be flagged for any kind of corruption then, if this is how it works.
Tyrone, I've been minister with responsibility for work for about 20 days. Based on what I have observed as it relates to the Spark program, I have not seen and I have not been involved in the procurement process for the Spark program. As a matter of fact, I learned of the pre-contractual approvals after the process ended. I do not interfere with it.
But Mr. Morgan,
the Minister of Work, please allow me, because you asked a very important question. The Prime Minister is my boss, who is the Minister of Work. He's not involved in the procurement process. This is an international tender which is observed by the IDB, the World Bank, the IMF, and all of these entities. I cannot question the wisdom of those entities and say that their assessment is wrong, because I have not seen any evidence in the Spark program where there is malfeasance or any attempt to subvert the process, which is why I'm saying it. This is why Mr. Bunting's attempts are so cancerous, because he's not only trying to question the actions of politicians, he's also trying to question the wisdom and actions of not just public servants in Jamaica, but international organizations who have approved international tenders over decades and have approved them based on the efficiency and efficacy of them in giving people value for money.
But I thank you for saying that, Mr. Morgan, but let's look at it in another way. I can say the sun will rise tomorrow and you can call me Nostradamus, but looking at the process as it stands and suggesting that a Chinese company, and I'm sure he's alluding to China Harbour Engineering Company,
but it's not only Chinese companies that have bidded. There are companies from France who have bidded,
very well,
from England, and companies from the United States.
Very well.
From Canada as well.
Complete.
Very well. But I mean, looking at it in a simple manner of versus a Jamaican company being handed that project, does it not seem that those companies such as China Harbour Engineering have economies of scale that many of the companies locally do not have, which essentially gives them a leg up in these kinds of procurement processes?
I cannot make that assumption. The fact of the matter is, based on when I heard the comments last night, I called the heads of the National Works Agency and I asked them, who are the companies that are pre-qualified? And I see a wide cross-section of international companies of great means and great potential and capabilities, some of whom have done major projects in Jamaica. Mr. Bunting has had a consistent approach to attack Chinese companies. I do not know why. We have seen on your own radio station years ago where he has attacked Chinese companies. I have no interest in Chinese companies, black companies, Indian companies. I have an interest in Jamaica.
In the best company for the job.
For money.
But Mr. Morgan, I can't speak to how the thing has been apportioned. I'm sure this was done through a government process. But would there have been a way that the various packages could have been created in such a way that it could have been done by a greater interest of Jamaican companies? But it might be that
Jamaican companies are involved, Siobhan. A part of the procurement process says that no company will be approved to do work under the Spark program unless they have a local partner. The reality of it, however, is, and you mentioned economies of scale, based on the amount of money that needs to be spent in the short period of time, we're looking at $20 billion over a 12-month period and another $20 million over another 12-month period. Not many local companies have that pool of resources because remember,
precisely,
when you do the work, you have to submit. Then that has to be assessed, and then it has to be sent back to you. You have to assess the assessment, and it has to go back. So you're thinking about 60 to 120 days before you can get paid for work done. Not many local companies have that reservoir of billions of dollars put down. What we have tried to do as a government, we're saying in the procurement process, listen, you cannot engage with Spark unless you have a local partner for each of the packages. Not for the entire 4 packages, but each package has to have a local partner.
I think that's a reasonable clause to have included, Minister. And a matter of fact, I would applaud a clause like that. When do you suppose that the asphalt will start hitting roads? Because I gather in Bunting, Peter Bunting's remarks, he's suggesting that your party has timed this Spark project so as to benefit from it politically as well.
Well, elections are not due until October 2025. I expect, and I have been given a mandate by my senior minister, the Prime Minister, that I need to do everything in my power with the NWA and the Ministry of Economic Growth and Job Creation to ensure that Spark hits the ground. Spark has already started, We've started the process of Spark from April, right? But when we see the rubber hitting the road, it's going to be in October where asphalt is going to be done. And remember, Spark is a comprehensive road improvement program. It's not just laying asphalt. It's about drains. It's about water, pipes, and so on. Working with other government agencies such as the NWC to give people long-term solutions to their community road problems and also border road problems.
Just finally from me, Minister, China Harbour Engineering was brought here by the People's National Party, and many of these concerns have been raised.
I don't know if that is actually factually correct. I think that was Mike Henry who did that.
Okay, all right.
For the Palisados road project that he did in 2009.
But the party had never had a problem with utilizing them for their own projects, correct?
No, but we have an international company that has resources that can execute complex projects, and they have partnered with local companies over time. Now, our position as a government is that the indigenous contractors must have an opportunity to improve their skill set and to also improve their financial viability. So our position is that we're not pro-China Harbor. We're not pro any international company. What we are pro-Jamaica and pro-development. And whatever we can do to create an environment where, yes, international companies can come and they can invest and they can spend their money. But our local contractors also have a space at the table. And when I met with the Incorporated Master Builders Association, I said the same thing. Our interest as a government is we would love for local contractors to do all the work. But the government also has to contemplate the ability...
The value for money question.
But is that knowledge sharing happening, Minister, to a point when all local companies can do these projects on their own?
Yes, it is happening, and I have had meetings with several local contractors, and they have made some presentations of some very innovative developments that they are making in terms of road construction, infrastructure development, and so on. So there is a lot of work taking place within the local construction industry.
Minister, we're out of time, but I've asked you this one. You remember Traffic Bureau?
Yes, I do.
What happened there?
Traffic Bureau, I think it was members of the opposition engaged with an international company.
That had a contract with the government of Jamaica.
Took money from them.
They had a contract with the government of Jamaica.
Right. But that did not go through a procurement process.
Mm-hmm.
That was not subjected to the
I'm just saying, with all the procedures that we have to ensure anti-corruption procedures and to ensure that the process goes well. Based on what I was hearing from you, I know what you're trying to say, and I'm not associating myself with Mr. Bunting's remarks. I think they were irresponsible if he doesn't have any evidence to support them. It's utterly irresponsible. But what I'm saying is, we've had issues with the contracts awards process over these many years. That's one. And point two, there are other ways that people can seek to benefit from entities that have contracts with.
Something, Tyrone.
And I'm not accusing your government of that. I'm just saying
infrastructure contract since 2016 by this Andrew Holness-led administration has been subjected to questions of corruption or malfeasance.
How many contracts has the government have been issued under the Holness administration?
Hundreds of contracts over the last 8 years.
Right.
And
So I know what you. I know I don't have the answers for all those contracts that have been issued.
Saying to you, Tyrone, you cannot make an assumption without evidence. And what I'm saying to you is that
who's making an assumption? Clearly, you're not understanding what I'm saying. If you're still making that point.
My apologies, sir. Go ahead.
Right, I'm not making any assumptions that you are doing anything wrong, and you've associated me with Mr. Bunting's comments, and I'm saying that is actually not so. I think the comments are reckless and irresponsible. But you were painting a picture just now in a way to suggest that there's no way for corruption to happen. That's what I was getting from you, and I'm saying
I would never make that assumption.
And that is what I was getting from you, which is why I put the question back to you. I'm not saying that there is corruption in the process. I'm not saying that. So to be clear, that's not what I'm saying.
The Prime Minister has given me responsibility for the Spark program. He's the senior minister. I'm the minister, basically junior. And under my governance of the Spark program, the instructions that has been given to the NWA and the various entities is that this process must be done in a very consultative, a very transparent way to ensure that the people of Jamaica not only are getting value for money, but see that they are getting value for money. Never before.
We're out of time, Minister. We have to leave it. We hear you.
I want to make sure you get your final word, Mr. Morgan, but we are truly out of time.
Yes. And I want to thank both of you for having me, and I really appreciate it. Thank you.
All right, man. Have a good one. This has been the cover story. The headlines are next.
Cover Story was brought to you by
Multilink. Roll with control. Use Multilink. Safe, fast, and accepted in more locations.
Say hello to peace of mind and goodbye to worry with Guardian Life's new Ultimate Provider Plan and secure your medical expenses in the event of critical illness today. Call 888-367-5433 for details.
The time by Guardian Life is
4 minutes after 6.
Nationwide headlines at 6.
Good evening with the headlines at 6. I'm Nora Gay Banton. Opposition spokesman on national security, Senator Peter Bunting, has labeled the government's ongoing road improvement program SPARK as a massive con. Mr. Bunting made the stark claim at a PNP divisional conference in Junction, St. Elizabeth on Sunday. The Shared Prosperity Through Accelerated Improvement to Our Road Network, or SPARK program, is a 2-year road rehabilitation project aimed at transforming the island's road network. The $40 billion project will target more than 2,000 community, parochial and secondary roads. Each constituency is allocated $150 million to undertake necessary road improvement projects. Works Minister Robert Morgan recently disclosed that 5 international companies were shortlisted to bid for the right to execute the SPARK program. A preferred bidder to execute the project has not been chosen yet. But, speaking to PNP supporters in Junction, St. Elizabeth on Sunday, Peter Bunting dismissed the project as an exercise in corruption. Invoking the powers of a prophet, Senator Bunting told his audience that the contractor for SPARK has already been chosen. Senator Bunting says SPARK will be used by the JLP as the vehicle through which the party will channel funds to power its general election campaign. Meanwhile, State Minister of National Security Juliet Cuthbert-Flynn has condemned Senator Bunting's remarks about the SPARK program.
Bunting's comment regarding the Sparks program are unbecoming, disgraceful, and false. The program will be going to international tender and is above board. What he's alluded to is how the PNP used to use the programs over the years for their political gain. Bunting is really expressing a fear about this program, which will bring benefits to the Jamaican people. And I think he should be ashamed to speak about the state of the roads after the PNP promised us pothole-free by 2003. That was a hollow promise which was never fulfilled. And so I think Bunting's comment is another indicator of how the PNP are desperate.
Juliet Cuthbert-Flynn, State Minister of National Security. Several workers attached to the security company King Alarm staged a protest outside the entity's Kingston office on Monday. The placard-bearing group says they're restive over the poor working conditions and unfair compensation they've been receiving. The workers lamented that they were not included in a recent salary increase despite being forced to carry out courier services which are not part of their job description. One worker spoke with our news center.
We are not being paid properly. You have a raise that is stipulated for the 1st of June. The others that have been victimized do not get paid. We don't get that increase that we're supposed to get. So we are being overworked and we have been victimized, humiliated, and we don't even get lunch. We don't even have bait where if we want to ease ourselves, we have to go to other people's place to beg for that. And I don't even talk about rest break because we don't get rest break. We are a response team and we are being forced to do courier services. When you say that you cannot do the courier pickup, you are being called by management, penalized, sent home for all these things.
If you're a patrol response team and you do courier work, you don't get courier pay?
No, you don't get the pay. All they do is say it comes with your work.
Nationwide News raised the concerns with King Alarm's managing director, John Azar. He told us that only underperforming employees were exempted from the company's recent pay hike.
There's some persons, believe it or not, and this may cause an even more disquiet, who got 30% and someone who got 42%. As I said in a meeting I held a week ago with our response officers, the only exceptions would be certain persons who, it was felt for whatever reason, was not deserving of any increase. We have very high standards at King Alarm, and until you meet a certain standard, we're not going to reward you in the same way that we would reward others.
Meanwhile, Mr. Azar also sought to clarify the issue of the workers' employment contract.
Our conditions for armed response officers in relation to their duties has been the same since our formation 24 years ago. So response officers who take up duty or come into interviews are fully aware that their duties are wide-ranging. Our armed response teams deal with responding to hold-ups, they deal with burglaries, they deal with medical emergencies, the ones that are so trained. They do deal with cash-in-transit services. So while we have specific cash-in-transit teams, there will be times where some of our other teams are asked to assist in that regard. There's absolutely nothing in the practice that runs contrary to their contract of employment.
John Azar, Managing Director at King Alarm. Those were the headlines at 6. I'm Norige Banton. Sports is next.
Buy more and get more at Ashley Furniture Home Store. Purchase any 3-piece and over lounge set and get free accessories valued at $20,000. Get 15% off the purchase of any 7-piece and over dining set. Plus, buy select queen mattresses and enjoy 20% off. Upgrade to a king and enjoy 30% off. Finance your fave styles on 6 to 48 months. Buy more and get more at the Ashley Furniture Home Store. This is home. Offers end June 27. Conditions apply.
Nationwide 90 FM is at it again. Team Revolution will clear every hurdle and sprint to the finish line as we cover the games of the 33rd Olympiad from Paris, the city of love.
Winning by daylight and setting a world record, 9.68. The wind is okay.
Nationwide's coverage is powered by our diamond sponsor, KFC. It's finger-licking good across all locations island-wide.
Touching lives every day, so many different ways, a part of all you do. Sagicor will make you feel secure. Reaching out for more, we'll always see you through. Reach for more, whatever you're dreaming, whatever your goals, we'll help you achieve them. You're never alone. Taking care of today's needs, take care of tomorrow's dreams. Every day helping you succeed, that's what Sagicor means. Today's needs, tomorrow's dreams. My Mega Mart, best value by far.
With so much to do in one location, make Mega Mart your one-stop shop. Pick up your groceries and houseware needs, grab a bite and pay some bills. Fill your prescriptions and see the beauty products in our pharmacy. All in one amazing location. My Mega Mart, the best value by far.
Hello, good evening, and welcome to sports here on Nationwide 90 FM. I'm Wayne Walker. Title favorites France opened their Euro 2024 campaign on a winning note today. The former champion secured a 1-0 win over Austria in Dusseldorf thanks to an own goal from the Austrian defender Maximilian Vuba on minute 38.
Here's Mbappe. Mbappe, brilliant burst. Oh, and it's in for an own goal. France have the lead. Maximilian Vuba, the scorer. France benefit from an own goal from the Austria centre-half. But it came about after some brilliant work from their captain, Kylian Mbappe.
In other games today, Slovakia upset Belgium 1-0 in their Group E clash, while Romania blanked Ukraine by 3-0 to go top of the group. Jamaica's national senior men's football team staged a first training session this morning in Houston, Texas, less than 24 hours after arriving on America's west coast to prepare for the Copa America tournament, which is set to kick off on Thursday. Jamaica's opening game at the tournament will come on Saturday against Mexico at the NRG Stadium at 8 o'clock Jamaica time. Defenders Wes Harding and Michael Hector are two of the players who are happy to be back in the fold of the national team. Harding made his debut for the senior team in an international friendly against Serbia 3 years ago, but he's been out of the national setup since. Harding says he has been following the progress of the team, though.
I actually watched the games. I watched the most recent game, both Dominican Republic, Dominica. So yeah, I've been watching, waiting. But yeah, to be fair, this time's really helped me to actually just watch as a fan, because I haven't actually expected a call-up. So yeah, it's been nice to just watch from a distance. Really looking forward to it, as I said. It's a big thing. Like I actually had to explain to other people, like, this is like the Euros over this side of the world. So yeah, really amazing to be here and can't wait to get started.
Wes Harding, this will be Jamaica's third appearance at the Copa America, and Hector has been in all three squads. He says it's always an honor to wear the national colours.
Every cap I got, every time I can have a chance to represent this country it's an honour, and I always do my best. I try, and the journey's been special. It's not ended. Hopefully, there's a lot more special moments to come, special nights, special days. It's been a fantastic journey, one that I always treasure and want to be a part of for long.
Michael Hector, following the game against Mexico, Jamaica will take on Ecuador at the Allegiant Stadium in Las Vegas. The Reggae Boys will close out the group games against Venezuela on June 13. Austin, the tournament kicks off with Argentina, the world champion, defending Copa champion, taking on Canada at the Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta. West Indies and Afghanistan will meet in a Group C top-of-the-table clash in the ICC T20 World Cup at the Darren Sammy National Stadium in St. Lucia, and it's set to get underway in an hour and 15 minutes from now. Both teams are undefeated and have already qualified for the Super 8s. Captain of the West Indies, Watchman says they still intend to put on a show for the fans.
Momentum is a very important word for us. It's important for us to keep playing good cricket and consistent cricket. After this game, the Super 8 is very, very important. So you want players going into the Super 8 with good performances. You want to go in the Super 8 as a team winning. So that's definitely something that we're taking serious, not taking nothing for granted, even though we have qualified for the Super 8s already. It's an opportunity for us to also put on a display for the St. Lucians that will come out to watch us play World Cup cricket.
As a man from Old Harbour, Rovman Powell. Meanwhile, a determined Bangladesh thrashed the spirited Nepal by 21 runs to complete the Super 8. Australia, India, Afghanistan and Bangladesh have been slotted into Group 1. South Africa, West Indies, USA and champions England will fill out Group 2. The teams will be play 3 matches each during the Super 8 phase, with the top 2 sides in each group qualifying for the semi-finals. The Super 8s will kick off in Antigua on June 19, with the USA taking on South Africa. And the same evening, the West Indies will face longtime rivals and defending champions England in St. Lucia. On June 20, undefeated India will play against Afghanistan in Barbados, a crucial game ahead of the knockout. This will also mark India's first game in the Caribbean during the tournament. Afghanistan will seek redemption for their close loss to Australia in last year's ICC Men's 50-over Cricket World Cup when they meet on June 22 in St. Vincent. Despite facing tough back-to-back matches, Rashid Khan's team has shown remarkable resilience throughout the tournament. Co-host West Indies will play South Africa in their final Group 2 match on June 23 in Antigua. Historically dominated by South Africa, the West Indies turned the tables last month with a clean sweep in a 3-match series at Sabina Park. Another World Cup-centric match will feature India against Australia in St. Lucia on June 24. Defending champions Manchester Spurs maintained their 100% win record with a 6-point win over St. James Sharps in the Red Stripe Flavors Netball Jamaica Elite League at the stadium courts yesterday evening. The Spurs beat the Sharps 45-39 to register their 5th straight win of the campaign. Chantel Slater led the scoring for the Spurs. She got 41 points, while Mishka Carey was the top scorer for the Sharps with 27 points. In the meantime, Tracy Ann Francis, she scored a game-high 43 points to guide the St. St. Catherine Racers to a 53-51 win over the Kingston Hummingbirds. Shadeen Barkley scored 6 and Alia Hibbert 4. Simone Gordon had 28 points. Kesty Esterridge 15. Odish Johnson 3 and Kadeen Cohen 5 for the Hummingbirds. And that's where we leave you on sports. And before we go, let's bring you the Nationwide Olympic Fact, and it's sponsored by Rainforest Caribbean.
This is Nationwide's Olympic Facts, brought to you by Rainforest Caribbean. Make delicious moments.
Did you know that from 1921 to 1948, artists participated in the Olympics too? Yes, that's a fact. In these games, painters, sculptors, architects, writers, and musicians all took part. They competed for medals by creating works of art that often celebrated the sporting successes going on at the same time. While artists stopped officially competing in 1948, many still design posters and other merchandise for the games today.
That was Nationwide's Olympic Facts, brought to you by Rainforest Caribbean. Make delicious moments.
So the countdown continues. We've got 39 days, I think, 13, and it opens on the 26th. Yeah, 39 days to go before the Olympic Games. It's approaching so quickly, it's not funny. But of course, you know where to turn to for the Olympic Games in the summer, starting July 26th, right here on Nationwide 90 FM, exclusive radio broadcasters of the Olympic Games. And as I keep saying, if you're interested in, joining our team in terms of sponsorship, it's financially viable, possibly the most financially viable event to partner with us. Our salespeople are waiting. Just call, and they're more than willing to take your call. We've got space, I can tell you that much. It's going to be a really, really warm summer. It's going to be a nationwide summer here in Jamaica.
For all your scales and food processing equipment, call Advanced Scales and Equipment Limited at 876-968-9612-5. The time by Advanced Scales and Equipment Limited is
6:21.
Plan your tomorrow today. Introducing JMMB's Hello Future Retirement Planning website. Figure out how much you'll need to be set for life with our calculated tools and tips at your fingertips. Visit hellofuture.jmmb.com and start your journey to your dream retirement today. Conditions apply.
Taste it, eat it, drink it, applaud it. The 25th staging of the Jamaica Observer Tabletop Food Awards, the Caribbean's premier culinary event, powered by MasterCard, takes place Thursday, June 27th, Devon House. The one-night-only evening of excellence in food creation, service and event decor is sponsored by Tasty, Tourism Enhancement Fund, Red Stripe, Johnny Walker, Sagicor, The Best Dressed Chicken, Appleton Estate, Pepsi, Supplegem, Eve, Gold Silver Cinco, Rainforest, Main Event, Island Car Rentals, King Alarm, Megamart and Derriman Trading. Adults 18 years and over. Drink responsibly.
The Office of the Information Commissioner, OIC, is Jamaica's data protection regulator. We're here to ensure large and small, public and private data controllers comply with the Data Protection Act. All data controllers must register with the OIC and process personal data in accordance with the law. Help us create a data-safe society for all. For more information, call us at 876-929-6952. Visit our website at oic.gov.jm. The OIC, your data, your rights protected.
Building wealth the smart way means you have a clear mission for your money. Specific and measurable means defining the reason for your financial goals. Achievable and realistic means keeping those goals meaningful, yet attainable. Think more retirement, less world's richest. Timely means keeping a time frame in mind so that all efforts remain focused.
Visit barita.com/opportunities for more growth coach insights.
Catch the E-Zone with me, the Stinger Honeybee, alongside
Kareem Boyating
as we turn up the heat
in the street. New show,
new vibes,
same us. Monday to Friday, 3 to 5 p.m.
Right here on Nationwide 90 FM.
We'll bring you entertainment news.
We'll take away your Monday blues.
You Don't want to miss a week with us?
We'll talk health.
Well,
jump into the mix.
Or the hot seat.
Don't miss the brain buster.
Or the crazy giveaways.
I mean, is this planet Earth?
Is it?
I don't know. Let me check. Either way, it's got a buzz.
And a bugger thing.
Ow.
Public Opinion is brought to you by Cleasing Industrial Supplies Limited, Industrial Automation and Control Solutions.
Good evening, and welcome to Public Opinion. I'm Robianne Williams. A special good evening to our YouTubers. Thank you guys for tuning in. We welcome you, and we also invite you to weigh in live in the comment section on today's Public Opinion. I think this one, you'll have lots to say about this one. So let me go ahead and get started. Prime Minister Andrew Holness says having successfully reduced inflation from 12 to 5.6% over the past 3 years, his administration is working aggressively to secure a further reduction in the cost of living. Now, the Prime Minister was speaking last week during a tour of the Spring Village community in Old Harbour, St. Catherine. The Prime Minister acknowledged concerns in Jamaica about the cost of living and observed that inflation is a global problem affecting even developed economies.
Over the last 3 years, your government has managed inflation, coming now from almost 12% inflation. That is when people used to send me texts showing me what the price of oxtail was the week before and what the price of oxtail is this week. Sometime, for example, chicken moving by $100 or $200. Right now, inflation has come down from the high of about 12% to now about 5.6%. That means that the inflation is now back within the target range. We are still trying to bring inflation down even more.
Prime Minister Andrew Holness, and that is what we're talking about this evening. Cost of living. In Public Opinion, we're asking what can be done to reduce the cost of living.
If they don't know, what can we tell you? How can we know if they don't know? I'd like to know myself because it really needs to be reduced. I go into downtown market and see the price of things in there. Ground provision. You can't buy it. I went there last week and I have to step out with less than what I went there for. It's terrible, man. It's terrible. I really can't tell you what to do.
I do not consider the cost of living in Jamaica high. It is not like Jamaica is in isolation. And when you compare the cost of living in Jamaica to other countries, even our Caribbean neighbors, Jamaica cost of living is rather low.
Don't know if there's much that can be done. Based upon our importation, all the stuff that we eat, we import. So I'm not sure if there's much that can be done. The only thing you can think of is backyard farming, but how much so you can farm at home to eat. So I'm not sure. To be honest, it's a very good question, but I don't think any one person, the answer based in any one person opinion, you know?
I'm of the view. I share similar sentiments with our respondents just now as it relates to, you know, if they don't know, how do we know? We just know we want it for go down, you know? Cost of living high. All right, so that's what we're talking about this evening in our Public Opinion. If you're just joining us, what can be done to reduce the cost of living? Going on over to our X platform where Tevin Johnson says lower the price of food and raise minimum wage, lower GCT tax, lower fuel costs, invest more in the healthcare system, and invest more in our education, and that equals to creating more jobs. Devon is saying maybe we could live within our means. Oh, wow. Yes. Griot is saying stop living because inflation is a global thing. All right. Lizzie is saying one thing's for sure, no political party can order supermarkets to lower prices. Elon Musk Admire says, even if inflation is at 0%, the supermarkets in Jamaica will still be selling at the higher price. In Canada, inflation went down and we see it in the reduced prices. Let me see. Quiet Storm says, NHT can actually live up to its mandate and build homes for the average contributor with the cash that it has. All right. Miss Blunt says, use up some of the lands we have here to plant some of the things that we are importing. Grace Davidson says Jamaica needs to produce more, eat what they grow, and grow what they eat. I think we've been on that campaign for a while now. Chris Phillips says, stop living. Would you look at that? Andrea Rose says, by getting, whoa, wow. This one is a little bit, okay. Against says, wow, White Cane, all right. Fix crime. And the cost of living and everything will go down. Okay. And he says lock them up for good. All right. Let me see if I can go to our comments on our Facebook platform. Anthony Sheikh says, I think the government needs to have a conversation with the manufacturers. They can do much better than they're doing now. Every week they jack up their prices and cut down on the items. But soaps are smaller, the layer of tissues are thinner, bread slices are thinner, and I could go on. And sometimes I buy the bread, them I think like few slices come out. You know me that? Sometimes I wonder if some of the slices they're missing. So he's saying that manufacturers should do better for consumers. That's what you're saying, Anthony Shakes. Okay. Let me see. Vivetta Campbell Edwards says cost of living is a worldwide thing. Helen J. Rollins says some of those large business that boast large yearly net profits need to start lowering the cost of some of their goods and services. Each year they keep setting higher profit projections for the next year, even when their operating costs have not really changed or increased. This would automatically result in less percentage in wage increase demand. All right. Andrew Freighter says most of the things we use and consume are imported, or manufacturers should step up to the plate and increase manufacturing, and farmers need to increase production and keep their prices competitive because imported farm produce are cheaper. Edney Powell says eat what we grow and grow what we eat. Imported food items costing us a lot. Better planning for our farmers like rainwater harvesting. Sean Major Campbell says we live under the fallacy of capitalism, which has no interest in cost reductions. The societal dictates of traditional economies cannot survive since profit drives the market forces of production. All right. Philip Jackson says, do all things in moderation. Live within our means. We need more Sunday Mondays. Wow. Tell you about a Sunday Monday something then. Today may I talk to somebody about it. This too shall pass, he says. When your neighbor beard is on fire, wet it with water. I mean, no, Philip Jackson always give with some proverbs. When your neighbor beard is on fire, wet it with water. You could be next. Look out for each other. All right. Mark Julius says, make good use of our resources. Be creative. Let me see if I can get in some of the comments on Instagram. Cost of living is factored by demand and supply, coming from Archie. And supply often is factored by greed and sentiments. Wow, okay. Call Babyface said go to work. Best believe we do that every day, and the cost of living still high. All right, let me see if I can get in some of our YouTubers on this one. Clapper D says the government cannot stop high prices. Jamaicans love foreign food too much. Kathleen Drummond, call out the manufacturers. They are the problem. Okay. Petrona Smith says, I buy 1 dozen lime, $500 in Sav. That is, you know, we have to plant one tree, you know. Petrona, me not tell no lie, me I plant a tree. $500 for 12? 12 lime? Wow. Me that plant the tree, me not tell no lie. Anthony Johnson says, this is not just in Jamaica. It is all over because in the USA, the price going up every week. In USA supermarket, things going up. It's not Jamaican alone, people. Okay, going up. Rape. Okay. Wow. All right. South Coast says a lot of supply is interrupted by the war in Ukraine. Yes, the Prime Minister did say that as well. Gertrude Brown says, hi all over. Mary Billett says, when things scarce, the price is up. When it's plenty, it down. Cost of living high everywhere. And I think what is being done is a comparison, right? But if the regular Jamaican, ordinary Jamaican is to make the comparison, them just a feel life, it a box them, it a thump them from left, right, and center. You know, them can't find the next meal. But I can speak that every time I go into the supermarket, it's different prices every week. Something have to go on. It's a lot. But yeah, the comparison is to be made that it's not only in Jamaica. Inflation is a worldwide problem. It's happening. It's before us. Bali says nothing can be done because bigger economies than ours can't stop inflation. And that's just the whole point of it. That's just the whole point of it. Donna is saying inflation is worldwide. Angela saying that lime is for $800 down here in Mobile. Me not telling lime. Would I plant one tree? Me feel like would I plant a tree? Yeah, of course. Wendell says reduce the price of agricultural inputs. Example for fertilizer. All right. Wow. Clapper D said cost of living high everywhere. It a box us for in foreign too. And that's what I'm saying. It's a comparison. But when you when you just go to the supermarket, you're not even make the comparison. You just a cost about the money where you have a spend. Two Music says you need to shop at wholesale. Of course, I shop at the wholesale because certain things can buy in a supermarket, you know. Certain things can buy in a supermarket. Nathan Gill says if you think it bad at Jamaica, look in New York. Look at New York. Elorita says stop harming each other. Stop driving recklessly, causing accidents. It's costing the government billions in free healthcare to take care of patients. Okay, wow. We can go on and on and on and on and on about this one. The high cost of living, it's everywhere. But thank you guys so much for participating in Public Opinion. That's all the time we have. But do stay tuned for the business report up next.
Public Opinion was brought to you by Cleasing Industrial Supplies Limited, Industrial Automation and Control Solutions.
Drive the most exciting new vehicles in Jamaica. Schedule your 2024 Ford Ranger pickup or Ford Everest 7-seater SUV test drive now. Call or visit KIG today.
The time by KIG is
6:35.
Don't let poor vision hold your children back. IQ Optical gives complimentary standard reflection-free lenses to children and teachers until May 31. Conditions apply.
The temperature by IQ Optical is
30 degrees Celsius in Kingston and Montego Bay. Hello, good evening, and welcome to Nationwide's Business Report. I'm Robianne Williams. The point-to-point inflation rate as at May 2024 was 5.2%. That's according to the latest release from the Statistical Institute of Jamaica, Statin. This was 0.1 percentage point lower than the 5.3% recorded for April 2023 to April 2024. Now, the divisions making the largest contribution to the point-to-point inflation rate were food and non-alcoholic beverages at 3.9%, transport 9.7%, and housing, water, electricity, gas, and other fuels at 3.8%. The calendar year-to-date inflation rate as of May 2024 was 1.3%. Further afield, one of America's most senior health officials has called on the country to impose smoking-style warning labels on social media platforms. Writing in the New York Times, Surgeon General Vivek Murthy said social media increased the risk that children would experience symptoms of anxiety and depression. He wants people who visit these platforms to be shown a message warning that they're associated with significant mental health harms. He said such a label would regularly remind parents and children that social media has not been proved safe. And finally, the currency markets at the close of trading today, it cost 156 Jamaican dollars and 36 cents to buy $1 US, 199 Jamaican dollars and 32 cents to buy $1 British pound, and 115 Jamaican dollars and 58 cents to buy the Canadian dollar. And that's the business report. I'm Robianne Williams. Good evening.
Live
exquisite this year with new arrival black and chrome fixtures for your home at Unique Living. Select from a wide variety of rain shower systems, fabulous faucets, and stylish sinks to suit your kitchen and bathrooms. Get uncompromised quality and style unique to you. Shop everything new at Unique Living, Jamaica's leading shower and faucets provider. Visit shop number 630 Dunrobin Avenue, Kingston 10, or call 876-755-3661 to 2.
To seize opportunities on your business horizon, you need tailored financing solutions from a partner that takes the time to understand your business. Sagicor Investments. We offer mid-sized to large corporations the debt and equity financing solutions they need to drive growth. Backed by the strength of Sagicor Group, one of the largest financial conglomerates in the region, you can be confident that we will deliver. Make your business move with Sagicor Investments. Contact our capital markets unit at 888-SAGICOR.
For all your electrical needs, visit ABC Electrical Sales. They stock a wide variety of electrical supplies including plugs, switches, panel boards and conduits, plus energy-saving fixtures. ABC Electrical Sales stocks brands like GE, Siemens, Philips, Cutler Hammer and Allen Bradley. They also offer free island-wide delivery just to suit your needs. Visit them at Shop 8, Hagley Park Plaza, Kingston 10, or call 876-754-3714-5 or 876-754-3825-8. ABC Electrical Sales, for a better choice in the electrical business.
If it's in the public's interest, it's the nation's business during Nationwide at 5. The nation's business.
Experience Jamaica's Olympic triumphs in Jamaica Gold, a golden spotlight.
Brought to you by Horton's Pharmacy. Horton's RX Pack for better medication management.
4 years after Arthur Wint won the men's 400 meters at the 1948 Olympics, George Roden won the event to ensure the title remained with Jamaica. Roden competed in the 1948 Summer Olympics but did not win a medal, being eliminated in the heats of the 100 meters and the semi-final of the 400 meters. He was also a member of the heavily favored Jamaican 4x400 meters relay team, but when Wint pulled a muscle in the final, their chances of a medal were gone. After a disappointing showing at the 1948 Summer Games, Roden was successful at the 1952 Olympics in Helsinki. As world record holder, he was one of the pre-race favorites in the 400 meters, which he won in a close battle with his compatriot Herb McKinley. McKinley says the photo-finish judge awarded the race to the right man.
Again, there was a photo finish, and I lost the judgment. But there was no doubt that Roden had actually beat me in this, although both of us at the same time.
You just experienced a Jamaican Olympic triumph in Jamaica Gold, a golden spotlight.
Brought to you by Horton's Pharmacy. Horton's RX Pack for better medication management.
Mark your calendars from June 16 to 19 for the 10th Biennial Jamaica Diaspora Conference at the Montego Bay Convention Center. Cliff Hughes Online will broadcast live from the conference on June 18 from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. Come and share your ideas on Jamaica's development, networking opportunities, express government services from over 10 government agencies, and so much more. All this and more on Nationwide 90 FM. That's a live broadcast of the 10th Biennial Jamaica Diaspora Conference, June 18, during Cliff Hughes Online from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. Only on Nationwide 90 FM, the new revolution in media. This broadcast is brought to you by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade.
This broadcast is brought to you by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade and the Pinnacle Montego Bay, Jamaica, the best address in Jamaica.
At
Attention, all data protection enthusiasts. Tune in to Nationwide 90 FM every Tuesday at 8:20 a.m. and Thursday at 8:25 a.m. for a new program, Data Protection Matters. Starting June 4, 2024, join us as we delve into crucial topics that will keep you informed and compliant. Data Protection Matters is hosted by Chuck Cameron, founder of Design Privacy, your trusted partner in data protection. Don't miss out. That's every Tuesday morning at 8:20 and every Thursday at 8:25 a.m. Stay protected, stay informed with Nationwide 90 FM and Design Privacy.
Do you have a consumer-related issue? Want to learn more about matters concerning you as a consumer? Well, keep it locked to Nationwide 90 FM for the Consumer Hour with me, Noragay Banton. Weekdays from 9 to 10 a.m. For all your consumer-centric matters, stay tuned to the Consumer Hour on Nationwide 90 FM, a revolution in media.
Chewy flavor with delight. It really, really nice. May I say it twice?
The time by Jamaica Mountain Peak Golden Turmeric Latte is
6:44. Welcome back, listeners. It's 6:44, and it's time for the nation's business. I'm Siobhan Campbell.
And I'm Tyrone Reed.
Well, we turn over to the matter of property taxes. Chairman of the St. James Municipal Corporation, Mayor Richard Vernon, says unpaid property taxes by residents amount to more than $1 billion in the parish. Mayor Vernon says the lack of payment has resulted in a strain on the authority's ability to maintain infrastructure in St. James.
He says single communities in the parish have over $500 million in property taxes outstanding. He also highlighted that residents from informal communities are most compliant. Really. Unlike the gated and other formal communities. That's something that needs to be further interrogated. To discuss further, we're being joined by Mayor Richard Vernon and the chairman of the St. Mary Municipal Corporation, Fitzroy Wilson. Gentlemen, good evening and welcome to Nationwide at 5.
Good evening, sir, and good evening to your listeners and to my colleague here.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening, listeners.
So, Mayor Vernon, let's start with your assessment. Is that really true that informal communities seem to be more compliant in terms of tax collection for property taxes, and how exactly does one collect property taxes from an informal community?
Very good question.
Well, I anticipated that it would have needed some clarity when I saw the story because the incorrect word was used, which is informal. In fact, it is not informal that in the sense of the settlements that we are thinking, but the unplanned communities. So there are communities where persons acquired titles and then they started to do construction and haphazardly developed, as opposed to the planned communities where the entire infrastructure was placed, the water, the light, everything. It went through the certificate of compliance, proper subdivision and everything handed over. Some of them gated, some of them not. So let us clarify that.
So it's people who live in communities who were perhaps previously informal, but they have regularized.
Right. To a certain extent, right? Now, when you look at the numbers, because we have done our analysis, and by the way, since I made the statement in about March, when I was inaugurated, we have seen an increase in the property tax collection. It has improved compared to last year during the same period. But we are still way behind. We are woefully lacking where the collection and payment is concerned. In the properties that value anywhere between, and we're talking now about unimproved value because property taxes are a function of unimproved value, not the improved value. And the unimproved value for many of these structured communities, lot by lot, is somewhere about $1 million to $3 million. And when you look at that band of persons who are paying, it is less than 50%. It is significantly low as you look at the other numbers. For example, 800,000 to 1.5 million, we're talking about 30% or somewhere thereabout. In the higher band with smaller numbers, the percentage is higher. So let us get it right. So in the band over $7 million on improved value, the percentage is about 70 something percent. In the band of the housing schemes and those type of properties within the organized communities, that band anywhere from 800,000 to 3 million, it is, when you average it, about 40%. So take the 50 to 30, about 40% somewhere there about.
So middle income
those are the
communities.
areas. Say that again?
So you mean about the middle income communities, essentially?
Right. So that's the area. And I mean, these persons are upstanding citizens, they pay their other taxes. Most of them turn out to be public sector workers, and they would carve out a honest living, take out a mortgage, purchase a home, doing their thing, eventually owning it. Some of them owned by persons who are overseas, you name it. But it is very diverse when you look at these communities. But we still have that challenge. And guess what? The demand from these communities for infrastructural maintenance is high, very high. And rightly so, because of the size of many of these communities. For example,
just to be clear, which one of the communities are you referencing now, Mayor Vernon? The previously informal ones or the gated communities and so on? Which one are you referencing now?
Let's take out the gated out of it for a little bit. We are looking at formal, whether they're gated or not.
All right, formal communities.
Whether they're gated, even when they're gated, the municipal corporation has to take care of them once they're handed over to us.
Yes,
right? So they're handed over to us with a fee, and the developer would pay that fee over to us to do some maintenance, probably for a year or so. And then we continue with the maintenance through the provision of property tax.
How much is usually that fee to hand over the scheme?
About $20 million.
They hand that over to you one time?
One time. That's negligible compared to what is needed to be done in these areas. So let us look at the Carnoy Courts, for example, with about 4,000 houses, the second largest housing development by NHT after Portmore. And you look at the demand for a community like that, for us to maintain roads, drains, bushing, sidewalk, street light, garbage collection. Look at that. So 4,000. And if you look at the 4,000 in population and a 30% payment, I will go further to tell you, we have done several operations within the area over the last 6 years, and I've only collected about $3 million, right? And the outstanding amount is well over $40 million, right? So to maintain an area, and if we are going to say equity, say we were collecting and servicing based on what we collect for each community. A community like that will only get 30% attention. You understand?
I want to bring in your colleague here because I want to come back to that money that you get, that 20 million that you might not need immediately, because if a developer is handing over a scheme, you think the scheme is in good standing. I want to come back to you to hear what you do with that money until it's time to spend it. But let's bring your colleague mayor in here, Fitzroy Wilson. He's the mayor. He's the chairman of the St. Mary Municipal Corporation. Mayor Wilson, is this your experience as well, what we are hearing? What is the rate of compliance? And do you find that some of these once informal, now regularized communities are faring better at paying their property taxes than the more established communities?
No, it varies. It varies. We have some of the structured communities who are high-end communities that is very much compliant. We have some of our housing schemes, NHT housing schemes, and HAJ housing developments that are we would say average 60-70% compliant. As everyone might know, is that some of these taxes are not even collectible based on the nature of the ownership of these lands. So these things go on the books and they go run on average of each year, and many of that is not collected. But in St. Mary, we do have a challenge in the collection of property tax. We have a robust and an excellent team that goes out on special occasions as well. We do drives in the communities. We educate them at our town hall meetings. We go to the Citizen Association, Neighborhood Watch meetings, the community meetings, and we discuss these issues wherever they arrive in some of these areas that is low in paying their property tax. So it's a bit of enforcement, and it's a bit of moral suasion that we go to them and we would talk to them and let them know the importance of.
So there's no clear trend from the data available in St. Mary as to who are the demographic groups or the various communities that are more likely to pay than not. You're not seeing it emerging from the data.
The data. We were looking at something last 2 weeks, and what is evident is that the lower end properties are more compliant than the upper value properties. So it is somewhat in line with what my colleague from Montego Bay is saying, that the lower end properties. Sometimes the money that we can collect is those monies like for 100 acres, 200, 300 acres. But the little man that has a quarter acre, half a acre plot, those persons are square. Those persons would be more in line with their payment. But
so what should we infer from that, though, Mayor? Listen, what should we infer from that? What conclusions can we draw from that?
I don't know what conclusion you would want to draw from that.
I'm not the mayor, no.
Huh?
I'm not the mayor. I'm asking you, what conclusions are you drawing from what the data is saying?
Well, what I'm saying is, what the data is saying is explicit. It is saying that those who may be able to pay more is actually not paying. And it is said that the little man on the street who owns a little quarter acre or whatever appreciates the property more and will pay more. And it is sometimes difficult, as what Mayor Vernon would allude to, in getting to these persons who sometimes it's a corporate, it's some big business ventures that own these properties. Sometimes it is so difficult getting to some of them who have overseas addresses to get them compliant.
So you can't locate the owners. Well, that raises now the question of using the courts to collect what is owed. But I'd like to hear from you, Mayor Vernon. What can we deduce from what we're seeing here in terms of the demographic groups that are more willing to pay? What are you theorizing looking at that information?
We have to do more engagement strategy. I mean, the truth is there are many ways that we can go about getting the money paid, and we really prefer to get compliance and cooperation through moral suasion conversations and setting up payment plan. And that is why we always say paying a little means a lot if an arrangement is attached, right? So we prefer to do that. We don't want to go to the courts to garnish property, to garnish different things on the estate to recover money. We don't necessarily want to do that, to be serving someone's. And it is harder because we have a system that is I would say disjointed where the property tax is concerned. TAG on one side dealing with the enforcement act, a part of it where they have to bring persons to the court, and the municipal corporations on the other hand have to be serving the notices, not the summonses, because TAG has to serve the summonses. So it is a little disjointed there and difficult. So we have to also work closely with TAJ to get these things done. And it also means that TAJ will have to try and prioritize how they deal with their other business and the property taxes at the same time. So we really don't want to go down that road. We prefer persons set up a payment plan, come in and pay a little and have something going, rather than not to pay at all. But there are laws existing that we can use to coerce the owners to pay over the money, but we prefer not use that method.
But Mayor Vernon, it sounds like there's a problem with legislation there. Shouldn't, in some sense, that these type of taxes and penalties should be summarily collected? As in, it shouldn't matter. It shouldn't really be a matter of you need to go through the court system.
It is not a perfect system. It needs to be ironed out and really looked at. But the truth is, there's only one Inland Revenue Department, and that is TAJ. So it is difficult for the municipal corporation where that part is concerned, but at the same time, it can be done. It can be done. But we have to look at it and appreciate what the tax represents, and understand that we cannot deliver effective and efficient service if we don't have the money to deal with it. And that is why I say that it is burdening the budget of the municipal corporation, because when you have 10 or 20 or 30 or 40,000 households in different communities asking for service to be delivered to their community, and we cannot find the money to deliver the service. They say that government is not performing, when in truth, government has no money to carry out these things, how we are supposed to carry them out. If I do a comparative analysis to countries, a matter of fact, I'm in the United States now on the IVL program, as you would have seen some time ago.
Yeah, the IVL program.
The International Visitors Leadership Program.
Great program, yes.
Right. So we are studying their system now. And I will tell you, I saw a property for roughly about 1.7 million Jamaican dollars. You want to purchase it cheap, not true? Purchase it. That property tax is $8,000 per year. So when you look at the data in other cities right across the world, it is telling you that there is a positive correlation between tax collected and maintenance given in the areas. So you go to these areas and you see clean streets, garbage trucks enough to cover the zone, street lighting in place, you see less potholes in their roads, and their verges are properly maintained. How do you think they get that money?
So some people might argue, Mayor Vernon and Mayor Wilson, I'd love to hear you on this. Of course, people should pay their property tax. I'm not going their taxes. I'm not going down that road. But is it a chicken and egg scenario where people are saying, I'm paying and I'm not seeing much being done anyway, so I'm not even encouraged to continue to do that? How would you respond, Mayor Wilson, to someone who may find themselves in a situation like that?
No, I don't think so. In the minority, you would have persons saying that, but I think some people have the pride of ownership in Jamaica, and they know that the property taxes are to be paid, and some pay. We have a number of initiatives that would drive persons to pay. For example, persons have in their plot of land and they want to bury someone on it. For them to get a permit from the municipal corporation also to bury on their own land, then you would have to pay property tax and come with the receipts. So there are a number of initiatives, and there's never enough resources to do the necessary things in the communities. But for the most part, most of the residents will appreciate the effort of even the trying that exists. And as you say, whether it's chicken or egg, in the lesser part of it, you'll have persons saying they're not paying no property tax. But as soon as we serve them a notice, on them, person don't even wait until court date. They normally come and pay those property taxes. So those are my experiences.
And that's what I want to ask you, Richard Vernon, I mean, a lot of the people you've pointed, the middle income bracket persons, they're buying their house for the first time. And for them, the property tax is the last thing on their mind in terms of payment, because what they're concerned about is the mortgage and the other aspects of upkeep on the property and their other day-to-day things. And when it comes to thinking about the property tax, isn't until them see the notice that say them owe it, they're not thinking about it. Isn't that what you need to address?
It is true, and especially coming out of the pandemic, I really agree with that statement. It is not a priority when you look at your budget and what you have to spend, prioritizing the sequence of things that you have to spend on. It happens. Now, when you look at that level income community, and you look at the property taxes at about $12,000-$15,000, you're looking at roughly about $1,000 to $1,500 per month, right? So it is sometimes not the inability to pay. It is disregard many times. Sometimes persons don't even remember to pay their property taxes, and that is why we have to keep ringing it, pay your property taxes, calling the community meetings, putting up the operation, going to the homes, serving reminders. We have to keep doing these things. And the other thing with it is that property tax, in some regard, is systemic, because the bank will ensure that when they are going to approve your mortgage, the taxes on that property, they are paid up, because they don't want any problems when they have taken that property as a collateral. Right? So they would sometimes call you and encourage you to pay your taxes so everything is up to date. If you want to do certain things, as Mayor said, to do burial and own land, to do some transaction, to get a no objection, to even get something from the municipal corporation to take to the Jamaica Public Service for connection, we do our due diligence to ensure that the taxes are being paid on these properties. And that is how we have managed to collect up to where we have collected. We are doing very much better than what we were doing before. But in terms of my contention is income, revenue coming in from taxes, and service delivered. There's a huge gap.
So, gentlemen, I know you'd rather negotiate with your residents in your municipality. But at what point you're going to have to start bring some people before the courts, or has that process already is an ongoing process for you? Meaning you have a number of those cases before the courts. Mayor Wilson, and then you, Mayor Vernon.
As the slogan said, we prefer collect than reconnect. we rather collect than going down that road. And as I said, we use moral suasion. And for the most part, it works. Sometimes the hardest part of it is identifying the owners, or be able to find the owners. Most of the time, once you find those persons, they would normally pay up. Once we find them, we serve notices on them, because we have special.
So you're not really broke then, man. Since you're prepared to just wait it out and use moral suasion, you don't really need no money then.
What I'm saying to you, we find them. As long as we find them, we normally get compliance. We have teams. We have our teams that goes through the community even on weekends, go through, and we have our operations that goes out. We use certain efforts to get to find these people, and when we do, we normally get compliance. As I said before, some of these you're not able to collect because even debushing of these lots, they are in our communities. Nobody knows the owners, and so on. So in that case, we don't have anybody to serve notices on, to bring them before the court, because you just can't find them. As I said to you, once we find them, they're normally compliant, or we always find a way. As we said, you don't have to find everything today, but the thing is, the thing is to agree to pay. However little what the arrangement we can make with them, we make the necessary arrangement.
Can I draw the conclusion for you too then, Mayor Vernon? The fact that you don't want to go through the courts, it being a really broke man. You have a pile of cash sitting on.
No, man, we have a few. We do have a few cases. They are significantly low in terms of the cases that we bring here. But remember now, if it were a situation where the municipal corporation would take these persons to court, I think we would have had more cases. Now you have to ask TJ to take them to court, and that's a different conversation. You understand? So that's another challenge.
And the TAJ oblige the future more than one way, So the TAJ has to take them to court. And then, as I just saw in the chat, mayors, someone saying it's just too difficult to go to the tax office and pay what you want to pay. The wait and the delay is just way too significant. I know that's not within your remit, but clearly there are some of the members are in the residents of your municipalities are saying that is also a problem as well.
And to further to Tyrone's point, the municipality with the highest tax compliance rate in terms of property tax is Portmore, which allows for that to be done on a Saturday. Why is that not something that's entertained outside of Portmore? I've always been curious.
It is, you name it. We consider them, they don't go to the consolidated fund. We consider it consolidated from an equalization perspective, meaning that it goes to one place and it is distributed equally across the municipalities. Because if it was not the case like that, where you get it equitably, you get what you collect as a parish, some parishes would be left behind because they do not have the value nor the population to drive the development from this and maintenance of their roads and other infrastructure within the space that are prescribed under the Parochial Revenue Fund. Therefore, when one municipality is doing very well, it does not necessarily that it returns to that municipality. Therefore, the call should not be only from a Montego Bay perspective or a St. James perspective, but an island-wide call for persons right across Jamaica to work with the system and to contribute to the system, because that is what we are asking you to do. You want better communities?
Am I hearing you correctly, Mayor Vernon? You're saying all property taxes go to the equalization and fund, and so what people pay from Montego Bay or in St. James, that's not for the municipal corporation in St. James. Everybody gets a piece of the pie. That's what you're saying?
That's the spread, right?
Yes, that's it.
Oh, so there's so means a person so if you have a municipality that is paying at a high percentage than Siobhan, they might not benefit to the extent that they are paying because everybody has access to all that funds.
And that's the answer to the question. So they may believe that they are doing very well, but they're not getting the services. But it is difficult for the local authority to deliver based on their expectation because of how it is distributed. And it is distributed in that way to help some parishes, some municipalities.
Should that be fixed, Mayor Vernon and Mayor Wilson? Should that be fixed? Should what is contributed in that municipality go to deal with the residents' needs in that area? Should it be fixed like that?
Go ahead, Mayor. Go ahead.
Yeah, man. Well, let me tell you, as it is, as Mayor Vernon would allude to, some of our parishes would be left behind where development is concerned, where we would have to have this. But it is also unfair for St. Mary residents to be forking out and paying their property taxes. And let's say we're up to 95% compliant in the parish, and another parish is up to 35%. And the people of St. Mary who would have made the sacrifice, so to speak, and is compliant, would not be able to benefit from that high percentage pay. It is something discouraging for us at the corporation, so you can imagine those paying the property taxes. We have in the past where we had an incentive-based scheme that St. Mary benefited from, where we said that where any housing development that is over 90% compliant, then they would have been awarded some development, and that was done, and we had gotten that done in one housing scheme in Highgate, St. Mary, in the past. So I would like to see more initiatives like that coming from the government, so to speak, to say that, all right, this parish has a compliance rate of, let's say, 90%. We are going to make sure that a larger percentage of that is placed into this parish so that the residents can be encouraged and more encouraged to go out and pay their property taxes.
Mayor Vernon, do you think each municipality should get what their residents put in the equalization fund?
I believe so. But we have to now look at how our local government system is set up and the powers that municipal corporations have to raise funds. It will be difficult for some municipalities to raise enough to take care of themselves. And that is why you have the equalization, equalizing the distribution.
Yes, that's the name suggests.
of local government revenue. So, but in reality, if a municipality is so developed to drive a certain type of growth, yes, it should have the necessary funding to meet that development from private sector and from what the government is doing as well. So, for example, let me just be straight up with you. For Montego Bay, when we reach a certain level of development and we want to take it up a notch, and private sector sees Montego Bay as a feasible destination for hotels and other build-out restaurants, you name them, and we need to now to provide services up to that level. When they pump in the money into that public fund through taxes, and it goes to, for example, Hanover, it is difficult for the municipal corporation now to keep up with the private sector development happening in the space, when in reality, we should be able to match what is happening, at least provide a type of service that is sustainable based on the level of development that is happening within the space.
Well, I guess the question
from that perspective, I believe we should have that from that perspective. But
I guess
based on what is happening now, it is hard.
Would be moot then. That 20 million you might get after a community is turned over to the municipal corporation by the private developer. That 20 million goes to the equalization fund as well?
No, that stays with the municipal corporation.
All right. So talk to me about, so when you get that, Mayor Vernon, and I get that's the same thing for you as well, Mayor Wilson. When you get that 20 million for a new community that you don't need to do anything in right now, what do you do with that money? Mayor Vernon, you can take the first job at it, and then Mayor Wilson.
It stays in your account. It stays there until it is time for it to be expended. And
there's nothing else you can do with it by law. You can't do anything else with it.
No, we don't do anything else with it. And even when there are rules, persons may think that we can get up and spend money and do anything we want to do. There are rules, different type of money for different things. And you cannot use certain revenue to cover certain operation, right? And if you get that money from the development as maintenance, it is there for that development, not another development.
That development specifically, by law, it can't be spent on any other development.
Right. So we have that money, and we say we expend that in probably about 5 years or so. Because remember now, it's not just a degeneration of roads. It's also for bushing, for drain cleaning, you name it. Right? And you now have to maintain that property for the life of the property. There come a time when you now have to pull on the property taxes to maintain a housing scheme of 1,000 houses, right? With miles of roads, with green spaces, with street light. You have to have trucks to service the expanding development. So the quagmire that we may find ourselves in when it comes to waste management, which is a function of property tax as well, is the fact that we are developing at a pace. So we approve 1,000, 2,000 homes, 3,000 homes in 5 years. And the trucks remain the same. And the ones that we have in the system for some time, no longer can fulfill its purpose. We have to get new ones, as you have seen recently. But we still need more. We still need more because the reality in planning is this. If you are going to add 3,000 homes to a space, you must also look at the waste management of the space, how many more trucks you need for that space. You need to look at how you're going to manage the traffic. You need to look at the water supply system, the storage system that you need to install to manage the sewage coming from that development, several things. So the development process is not only about approving the building because it meets the building code or the development meets the certificate of compliance. It's also about meeting the overarching development, the multidimensional development within the space, from social to economic. All of that you have to take into consideration. But can we match it?
Mayor Wilson, we've gone over time, but we'll give you the final word on this issue. And perhaps you want to give a plug too, because I see a lot of people are mentioning it in the chat that you can pay your property taxes online, so you don't have to join those long lines at the tax office. Yeah, but a lot of people are not online, so they go to the tax office, and it's not encouraging to go there and see those long lines. But yeah, there's an online option as well.
Well, I agree. With the procedure that the fund is paid in that fund for that development, and that it is normally used when there's remedy defects in that community, and you would understand that to maintain a few kilometers of road, you know what it would have cost. But the point is, majority of the developers don't pay over that money to the corporation. They merely develop these developments, sell all the lots or sell all the houses in that development, and it stays there and stays. And when it now reach to a stage where the infrastructure is being eroded, then the residents come to the municipal corporation to remedy those defects.
Long-standing problem of these communities, these schemes not being handed over properly to the municipal corporations. And then when people are having problems now, it's up in the air because it's not been handed over to you. Yeah. They're in some kind of development purgatory, right? Because it's not been handed over to the corporation. But here's my question to that though, Mayor Wilson, because I know it's a long-standing problem from my days as a reporter. Yeah. I've come across that issue. Can't the municipality take these developers to court? It's not like they've built the communities. Many of them are packed up and gone home. We have serial community developers, yeah? Can't they be taken to court to hand over this money and hand over the schemes properly? Can't that happen?
Well, in St. Mary, we're looking at that, and that is somewhere we cannot have persons paying out their lifelong earnings and savings on a lifetime investment and be treated in these ways. We're steadfast and we are certain that these actions are going to be taken against these developers wherever they are found to be in this breach. It cannot be that if you don't hand over to the municipal corporation, then you must maintain these spaces. And we cannot have the people suffering, and we're using that technicality or saying that we can't fix these roads because they weren't handed over. And in classification, it is a private development, and we can't. At the end of the day, we are collecting the people property taxes for these areas, and they deserve the service. So we must
but you need that money in the bank as well, man. So you take those people to court if you must. Mayor Vernon, have you been taking those developers to court who are not handing over this kind of money? Or you don't have that problem out in Montego Bay and St. James in general?
We are mostly asked to take it over. Please take it over.
And they do give you the money?
Yeah, we get the money. The problem that we need to have further discussion, and not for this program, but for future, is how we treat with a community that is gated. Is it public or is it private? that is something that we could look at a later date.
Well, from your lips to the producer's ears, I'm sure she'll make a note of it and see if we can have a discussion surrounding that as well.
But since you're closing, I just want to just put it out here quickly that we'll be doing an operation for St. James on the 28th and 29th of June. We'll be focusing on the Cornwall Courts area. And we, of course, will be setting up more property tax collection drives for persons who don't want to go to the tax office and cannot, navigate the online system. They may come to the location. We'll be putting out more information pertaining to this as we go along and we move closer to the dates. But we'll send out the pamphlets. We'll be doing the advertisement and we'll be coming to the different communities. So persons, just help us to develop the space. That's all we're asking. We don't want to take anybody to court right now. We just want it to just set up a payment plan and we just do the thing and so we can maintain the spaces because they need maintenance.
Hey, Richard Vernon, Chairman of the St. James Municipal Corporation, Mayor Fitzroy Wilson, Chairman of the St. Mary Municipal Corporation. Gentlemen, we appreciate the time and the thoughts. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All the best. All right.
This has been the nation's business, Sir Siobhan. What do we have coming up next?
Well, we have a brief look at what's happening over in Israel, and then we'll be taking the calls from our listeners and viewers. The numbers are 630-9371-4 and 618-8255. Come chat with us.
Nation's Business was brought to you by BH Paints. Paint it, love it with BH Paints.
The mission of the Ministry of Legal and Constitutional Affairs includes revising Jamaica's legal and constitutional infrastructure and accelerating the pace of reform. The time by the MLCA is
7:24.
Touching lives every day, so many different ways, a part of all you do. Sagicor will make you feel secure, reaching out for more, we'll always see you through. Reach for more, whatever you're dreaming, whatever your goals, will help you achieve them. You're never alone. Taking care of today's needs, take care of tomorrow's dreams. Every day helping you succeed, that's what Sagicor means. Today's needs, tomorrow's dreams. Sagicor.
Outperform, outlast. We top performance. Jackama. Reliable, full stop, not comma. We have the expertise for drilling and demolition. We have the power tools for plumbers and electricians. Fancy select tools, 3 parts and 3 repairs. 3 parts, 3 repairs. In 2 to 3 years. Hilton, available at Delta Supply, 106 Hagley Park Road. Call us at 876-302-61124. Delta Supply, we service what we sell.
It's time for a new look.
And high time to get serious about protecting our home and investment.
It's time to choose BH Paints with over 60 years experience in quality paint finishes. Their products are superior and long-lasting.
Time to check them out.
Ask about BH Paints 100% Acrylic Ultima Plus paint and primer in one. Experience rich colors with advanced UV and mildew-resistant technologies, independently tested by experts. What are you waiting for? Visit a BH Paints Color Center today.
The Watchman. Exploring issues shaping our society, government, and business. Provocative, unconventional. Dr. Henley Morgan is The Watchman.
Good evening. How dependable is tourism? Should Jamaica move away from being a producer and exporter of a little bit of this and a little bit of that, disdainfully referred to in some quarters as samples, and instead fully embrace tourism as the country's economic savior? To be or not to be a monoproduct economy? That's the question that should preoccupy the minds of our economic policy makers and planners. Despite the best efforts of succeeding governments and a glowing report in Great Britain's Financial Times newspaper for being one of the most remarkable turnarounds in recent years, Jamaica remains unquestionable an economic basket case as measured by two separate but related key economic indicators. The ratio of imports to exports, which is nearly 2-to-1, as a percentage of gross domestic product, GDP, and the rate of growth, which struggles to break the 2% per annum GDP barrier. Writing in the March 17, 2024 edition of the Sunday Gleaner, development economist Don Robotham attributes the perennially poor economic performance to lack of economic complexity. The country, he says, is trapped in the production and export of low value-added goods and services with resulting low-wage jobs because of failure to invest in education and skills training, particularly in digital literacy. Although not listed as an export product because it is consumed locally, tourism's gross annual earnings, which exceed $4 billion United States dollars, makes it Jamaica's biggest earner of foreign exchange, 130% more than the country earns from its merchandise exports. By Minister Edmund Bartlett's estimation, tourism's domestic retention of 40% places it second after only remittances with respect to direct circulation of money in the local economy. Add to that the fact that tourism directly employs 10% of the employed labor force, and that it constitutes around 13% of GDP, and you have a strong argument for putting all our eggs in this one basket called tourism. But tourism also suffers from several downsides. The proverbial Achilles heel. One of these we learned all too well during the COVID-19 pandemic. That is, its vulnerability to acts of nature, disease, and other natural phenomena. Another is tourism's poor record as an allocator of revenue, with a disproportionate percentage going to large owners and operators of accommodation. There are several other negatives to contemplate. The government has announced that it is commissioning a multidimensional impact assessment of Jamaica's tourism sector. It's a good opportunity to weigh the pros and cons of committing to a tourism-centered and driven economy. Think on these things.
Produced by Agency for Inner City Renewal, AIR, and recorded in the Jamming Studio Trenchtown, a breath of fresh air bringing change to the inner city.
Does your organization need help to achieve compliance with the Data Protection Act? Contact We Manage Trust today at 876-339-5982 or email info@wemanagetrust.com. Let their team help you to achieve compliance with confidence and learn about their tailored MSME packages. We Manage Trust, the data protection experts. Give them a call at 876-339-5982. That's 876-339-5982. Call them today.
More savings, more choices. Get active with Active Home Center. The one-stop shop for everything for your home. We have more savings, more choices, unbelievable prices. Wide selection with the latest style. The kitchen, bathroom, right down to the tile. Buy the hottest items on spot, don't miss out. Best options under one roof, no doubt. More savings, more choices.
Visit us in store or online at www.activehomecenter.com.
We have more savings, more choices.
The Faculty of Law at UWI-Mona invites you to their 10th annual symposium on law, governance, and society, navigating tradition, embracing innovation, and expanding legal frontiers. Attend online or in person at the Iberostar Rose Hall Beach Hotel, Saturday, June 29 and Sunday, June 30. Panel presentations on international law, employment law and AI, environmental law, security transactions, constitutional interpretation, transfer pricing, and more. Register at www.mona.ue.edu/law or call 876-550-2680. CLPD credits available.
My Mega Mart, best value by far.
With so much to do in one location, make Megamart your one-stop shop. Pick up your groceries and houseware needs, grab a bite and pay some bills, fill your prescriptions and see the beauty products in our pharmacy. All in one amazing location. My Megamart, the best value by far.
My Mega Mart, best value by far.
Well, it's 7:33, and considering the lateness of the hour, we've decided to go straight to your calls, actually. Richard, you're on the line.
Good
evening, gentlemen. How are you
evening,
doing?
Richard.
Hello.
Good evening, sir. We can hear you. Go ahead.
Yes, my question is, the backside levy back in the 70s, how much did Jamaica gain from that?
Siobhan, do you recall?
I mean, I can't imagine an exact figure, but it was quite a major earner for the country back in the day.
Yes, but irrespective, we have earned something significant from it. We didn't see where it was put to use in a significant way to better the lives of Jamaicans.
That's well before my time, Richard. I don't know how to speak to that one.
Well, I was born in the 60s, so most of the 70s is what I would read, and some of it would have gone through the Gleaner archives. Listen to some of the older journalists, would bring back some of these things to our memory, But because in the 1970s, close to 1980, the then Prime Minister was left with 8 ministries because his ministers, they were resigning. Rumors had it, there was no proof to say a lot of them run away with a lot of the resources and the finances from the country. Then we have, there was problem with them and the IMF, where the IMF was saying, look, we can't lend no more money. We couldn't get money to borrow, so we come with the mechanism of self-reliance, which is a good thing, yes, but it was not truthfully put to the Jamaican people. And I remember when one of our prime ministers went to Canada to loan forgiveness, a deal was given to us. We're going to take X amount of sardine off the government hand. So sometimes when we go and negotiate, we are put in a situation that we don't have a say. Either we take what is put before us or we leave it. Same thing with, some time ago we had mad cow disease, and there was a lot of countries banned beef from America. We didn't do it. We constantly taking the beef. When we had bird flu, we still taking the chicken back, right? And the chicken parts. So what is that saying? That we have no strength in negotiation because of our reliance on begging, borrowing, cause us to be in a situation like that?
I hear you, Richard. I believe that we've done quite better recently in terms of being able to fund our own projects, though.
Yes, but there are still people, including the opposition, who is trying to discredit that. And you see people in United States or one Jamaica and trying to bring down our country. I don't get it. Because I remember as a boy growing up, I used to go to school barefooted, I don't see kids going to school barefooted anymore. And I see kids wearing Clarks at school. I never, even at my age, I never wear Clarks before. I don't have a problem with wearing that, But I have to show you that in every era we have, less fortunate, the vulnerable, and this is one of the things I believe a socialist program has to put in place to deal with the vulnerable. But at the same time, when we put in this program, we must try to help them to get out of poverty and move into the middle class.
But one would assume that is the purpose of the PATH program.
Yes, but there's a struggle for some people to get on it, based on some foolish criteria, And I'm very happy to see the HEART program which is put in where people will be paid to go and study. And a lot of people are saying that they want motivation, but if you want more motivation, this is an opportunity because I grew up in a very poor family. There was 5 of us sleep on one bed. Now, I upgrade myself, I work hard and become successful. That I have 6-bedroom house now. It's not that I'm sure now, but it's sure that the discipline that it takes, upgrading it so that you can achieve.
I hear you, Richard. I agree with that last statement from you in terms of a lot of Jamaicans don't recognize what the struggle and the hard work will end up achieving at the end of the day. They just want the increase to be granted and that be that.
And they say, give me now, Okay, have a good night. Thanks for taking
All right,
call.
Richard. Thank you for the call. We appreciate it.
So listeners, the numbers again are 630-937-124 and 618-8255. Carl, you're on the line.
Evening.
Evening, sir.
Credit run out today, Carl.
No, man. Me call about, man. Man, like, if you credit you run out, man. Yeah, disrespect me, man.
I withdraw, Sir Carl. How you doing?
I'm the economy a grow, man. You can't talk that about me. Don't do that, man.
Touche, my brother. Touche.
Anyhow, cry, baby, moonshine, darling. Take off your clothes and go to your bed. Sparks and make people cry already, and you not start yet. You know, here Sparks and make you look up in Portland National Security, where people take one briefcase. I cry already over Sparks. What a shame. Anyhow, I don't know if you was around. Tyrone, you must be there around, man. In the 90s, when Cry Baby was around, there was no time under Omar Davis that Jamaica economic growth. If you can tell me one time, put it to me. Differently from 89 to 92, that did left by Siago when PJ, Michael take over there and then PJ Pattison. And tell me one of the other year, telling lose power to Bruce Colin, that the economy did grow.
18 years unbroken. I've always said, I can't recall the specific figures for economic growth, but it wouldn't surprise me that you're correct.
Majority of the year.
Those 18 years was not masterclass in governance. I must tell you that.
I can go and take a look at it. 0.1, some type of zero, I can't even understand it. And the time around the Caribbean was growing. The Caribbean country was growing. So if you hear Cry Baby this evening, come and talk about 2% what a growth Jamaica have now. What is wrong with this PMP? PMP no have no moral authority to be talking about growth. Because they don't know how to do that. Why they not take a back step and go once they go sit down and watch how economy grow? Can you imagine we just come out of epidemic, the coronavirus, and we economy start to grow and Cry Baby talk about it. I don't understand them. I do not understand these people. And I am not good at maths. Tyrone, I know say you're maths, man. You're good.
No, sir, not at all. I'm a wordsmith by profession, sir.
13 and 14 and how much?
It's all like 27.
35 and 14 and how much?
35 and 14?
Yeah.
That sounds like what? 49?
All right. Okay. All right, let's start this.
What are you referring to, Carl?
What are you trying to draw us into, Carl?
35. No, I'm not giant. I will never do that to Mr. Hughes radio station. Never.
No, man, that's not what I mean. I didn't mean it like that.
But I am not a good maths man. I only know how I can think out myself and talk. That's why I say, for even kind of struggle, I use all So, then could drop on some corn grain and try to say me could have come up to understand how much 35 and 14 make. But we leave that there. So one next time we will tell you. But anyway,
All right.
tell cry, baby. So not cry yet. Not cry over a spark program yet. Not cry yet, cry, baby. Hold on a little more. Hold on a little more, cry, baby.
All right.
Not
take it
cry
easy.
yet, Portland.
We have anybody else on the line, Siobhan?
We have Mikey B. Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening, Mikey B. How you doing?
Now, I am asking, what's the reason why we elect government? Isn't to provide general service to the country?
Yeah, to govern in general, and it includes that.
Yes, it includes that. So if a government tells me that they're going to provide road for me and they ask me to come to them and tell me choose which road that is prioritized, and they set out a plan, and before the plan implemented, you are going to tell me that it's not going to be successful.
Hello?
It
looks like we lost Mikey B.
Oh dear. Sorry about that, Sir Mikey B. If you can give us back a call, that would be great.
Okay. Well, what do you make of Bunting's claims regarding the Spark program, Tyrone?
I find that Mr. Bunting is given to making these wild remarks, and to be inappropriate with his comments. I find Mr. Bunting to do that. I hear Cliff having to caution him with those remarks he made at the that meeting of the Police Federation. And some of the comments I've seen him make about the police high command. I wonder how he would work with the police high command if the PNP were to win and he becomes National Security Minister. I wonder how he would relate to the police high command. I mean, clearly he can't call the shots anymore because we've separated those functions. Operations to the commissioner, and of course the policy comes from the political directorate. But I wonder, I wonder about the him being rational. And if you don't have the evidence to support that, and then to talk about him is prophesying and all of that, I don't know. It just strikes me as being, politicians being their usual irresponsible selves, I would suppose, when they are on the political platform. What did you make of them?
Well, in specific to the statements regarding the Spark program, I don't know if Mr. Bunting is suggesting that he's some kind of prophet or prophesying. But, I mean, it comes down to the end of the discussion that Czech and a lot of these international companies, when you put something to international tender, are far more capable in terms of their economies of scale and their output to be the ones to push forward these kind of projects. I mean,
a question of capacity. You're right.
Exactly. So I mean, this is saying that I'm a prophet. I don't know what he thinks is going to be achieved by that. Almost as if he's suggesting that Jamaicans are being squeezed out. No, I don't believe that's the case. It's just that Jamaican capacity to manage these kind of projects is just simply not there.
You may be onto something. Perhaps he's pandering to the Jamaican developers because they have been complaining in recent years about not getting what they believe to be their fair slice of this construction pie. So perhaps he was pandering to them. But I often wonder, without more, right, for you to wish for doom and gloom over a national project that is supposed to benefit the country. I don't agree with everything regarding how they're implementing these programs, right? I have my concerns, and I've had my concerns over these many years. But why would you hope for the I don't know. So I wonder about our politicians and their commitment to Jamaica. That I'd put it no stronger than that. Let me just put it like that.
Well, we have Mac on the line. Good evening, Mac.
Good evening, Mac.
Good evening. How are you? And Tyrone, good evening. How are you?
Good evening to you, my good sir. How are you, man?
Listen to me. I agree with you when you were speaking to the counselor. I'm good. When you were speaking to the counselors, it's simple. It's simple arithmetic. Take these developers to court. There's no if and but. They don't want to pay. Take them to court. Simple as that. They have the right to do that, right? Now, regarding Peter Bunting, he went to the Jamaica Federation the other day, and he speak about the chairman. Well, people must understand that Peter Bunting lives in a democracy, free speech. And Peter Bunting have the right to go anywhere in Jamaica out of 12 mile of water and speak appropriate. He did nothing wrong. But what we have in Jamaica, if you agree with Peter Bunting, then you're a bad man. If you disagree with Tyrone, you're a bad man. So we have to come to terms and understand what we're talking about. Tyrone, you're right. Peter Bunting is right. The program to implement the road program, you have your doubt about it. I have my doubt about it, Tyrone.
No, I never said. That's not what I said. Don't. That's not what I said. That's not what I said.
What you said?
I said I have my issues with how we go about implementing some of these programs. Not this one in particular, and that's been for years. I really have an issue with how I think sometimes the political directorate gets into this thing. And it's a long-standing issue in terms of how we issue state resources and so on. So sometimes we go to the parliamentarians for them to make recommendations, and I think I think that can lead to the programs falling into partisan politics, and that is why I have a concern with that. But that was just a general comment I was making about issues, and not this program in particular.
What I like the way they build road here. The big people get their contract, and then they subcontract out it to the small people, and they have no problem with the way how they build road here. It's been done in a transparent way, so we need to move that system to Jamaica. But my last,
but the Minister of Works basically said what you're saying.
No, because that's essentially what's going to happen.
He's saying that is going to happen. Where even if it's one of these multinational companies, one of these companies from overseas that get the contract here, they have to have a local partner in order for them to be awarded. He did say that.
Yeah, my last point, one important point, what I want to make to you. We have in the diaspora in Jamaica now. What I would like to see is more foreign exchange flow into Jamaica. And your other guest there, I don't remember his name, the one that you hosted the show. What I would like to see is that the diaspora is being given a banking license so we can flow more foreign exchange and put Jamaica on a more independent and fundamental part to success. What is wrong about that?
A banking license? What do you mean?
Give us a banking license and let the conglomerate Jamaicans who live here, who has the money, who has the brain power, who has the financial resource, we come together.
Mark, you want Jamaica to be blacklisted? You think that's how banking license go?
Oh, you mean how banking license go? Once you have the requisite skill, once you have the requisite information, everything, etc., etc. Oh, you think these people get banking license? Once all they do diligence,
they have to meet certain fit and proper criteria, and certain safeguards have to be in place as well. You don't just walk around and dole out banking license and to a nondescript group, such a broad group as the diaspora. I mean,
the diaspora, the diaspora must be given the opportunity to contribute to Jamaica, and part of that, why can't we get a banking license? We go through all the procedure. That's all we're talking about. That's all we're talking about.
What do you mean by a banking license, Mark? What do you mean exactly? Who would hold this banking license, Mark?
NC have a banking license. Scotiabank have a banking license.
The Bank of Mark. That's what they
broaden the banking license, that other players can come into the game. That's all we're saying. Other players can come into the game. What is wrong about that?
I don't. But Mark, I think that has already happened, because you have, I believe it is VMBS who recently got a commercial bank license, and I believe JMB also has one as well.
And Jane recently got their
as well as
license.
Sagicor. So I don't think it's a matter of a lack of banking companies in Jamaica. The problem is just how our banking system is structured in terms of the know your customer requirements makes it very difficult for you as a customer to really enjoy any type of competition in the banking space. What you essentially have is a whole bunch of what you essentially have is a cartel. They each have their own customers and they serve their customers and they set their fees and such to keep those customers locked to them. And the know your customer regime makes it impossible for you to say, all right, I don't like how my banking here is at Scotia. I want to go over to NCB or vice versa. So it's not a lack of
with Mac's proposal, Siobhan, is he saying just give a license to the diaspora? You're going to just say, all right, diaspora,
no, but there's nothing.
license.
But to what Mac has suggested,
that's not how it works.
But to what Mac is suggesting, if a foreign entity or a group of foreign investors want to set up a bank in Jamaica and they go through the processes with the Jamaican authorities, they are more than capable of doing that.
Exactly, right. You can't just take up a banking license and give to the diaspora in general.
Tyrone, I did not say the way how you're articulating.
No, but that's what you just said. You said they need to give a banking license to the diaspora. That's what you said. You repeated it. Isn't that what you said, Siobhan?
The most foreign exchange in Jamaica than the tourism. And we would get more money on our return because I don't get more money on my return in foreign exchange here. But if we have a system in Jamaica, my money would be in Jamaica banking system. If you allow us to come in as a player and come into the game. That's all I'm saying.
So, Mark, organize it then, the man. I get the license, apply for the license and get it. Organize it. I hear you stump on our water cash.
I mean, for example, if, let's say, American Express or what is another, Chase or one of those big banks in the United States wanted to come and do business in Jamaica, I am sure they can make a case to the Bank of Jamaica to say, we would like to enter the commercial space. What do we need to do? But I mean, at the end of the day, it probably wouldn't change anything until the know your customer regulations are adjusted to allow the customer to decide, say, I don't like Scotia, I want to go X. I don't like NCB, I want to go Y.
And you can move. You can move without the hassle, right?
You know, I can open a Cayman account here, and all what it takes to open up a Cayman account here is my social security, my state ID, and that's it.
You're in the Cayman Islands, Mac.
Once the Cayman run those information and realize that I'm working my money and it's legit, I'm going to.
But that's the problem we have here.
You're in the Cayman Islands and not the US.
To go to open a bank account, staying from here to open a bank account in Jamaica is like pulling teeth. But
the problem is, all you need to do now is provide your social security. You see what you said there? We have the TRN, yes, but getting a TRN number is not the same as having a social security number as you would have in the United States, And we don't have what you can call a unified identification system in Jamaica. That is literally the crux of the problem. So every bank has to make sure that you are who you are.
I have a bank account in Jamaica, and when I called the bank told me the other day that I have no account here. I called my lawyer, and I said, I instruct my lawyer what to do. My lawyer go to the bank. I'm not going to call the bank name. When my lawyer go to the bank with information, the bank told my lawyer, yes, Mark have an account here. Simple as that. If I didn't call the lawyer, what happened to me? Dog near my supper. We can't have a system in Jamaica.
Because our identification system is terrible in Jamaica. As it stands currently, it is just terrible. The process of getting a what do you call it now? What do you put in the cell phone again? What do you call the thing? The chip. Just the process of getting a cell phone chip in Jamaica is a whole bunch of write out this document, write out that document, and that's to get what in the United States they call a burner. Like you literally just go in a store, you pay $500 and you get it.
Yeah, we have to.
With that comes its own set of problems doing it, Siobhan. Those burner phones. I've been known to be involved in a number of things, right? With that comes its own problems.
Yeah,
which is why I am hopeful that with the national identification system, a lot of these contrivances that we have to deal with that are essentially just benefits that people like in the United States have, we will actually get them. when you just have a system where anybody can tell who you are.
We're almost out of time, but Mark, I'm not going to let you get away with that talking point about freedom of speech with Mr. Bunting. It was inappropriate for him to have done that at the Police Federation conference. Inappropriate. Nobody's talking about whether or not he has the right to say what he has to say. That's not the point. The point is that it was inappropriate for him to have gone there and spoke about an internal disciplinary matter in that regard.
The reason why
That's
you
the point.
can talk on this Western Hemisphere is because of freedom of democracy. If you and I was in Russia, Tyrone...
Mark, it's not an issue of freedom of speech, though, Mark. It's about responsibility. It was inappropriate. But we have to leave it there, though, Mark. We can argue about that another time, God willing.
I think Mark has left us well at the right time. It's 7:58, so it's time to wrap up Tyrone. Thanks to our super producer Dana Davey, helped by the very elegant Madam Brown Bull.
Oh, Madam Brown Bull. Greetings to Madam Brown Bull as well.
And our tech up Andrew Glenn Anderson, the news and production department.
Andrew Glenn, Anglia Bangle, my boss.
As Tyrone has now been called the Bangle Man. Who did give you that?
That's what the person said.
What did they call him? The Bangle Man or something? Yeah, Mr. Bangle. Tyrone, Mr. Bangle.
Mr. Bangle.
Yes. I'm Siobhan Campbell.
And I'm Tyrone Reid. Good
Have
evening.
a good evening.